prepared for my launch of the second edition of a stream live on YouTube. As it stands right now, I've scheduled it through my email list, hoping to see some people on here, and I'm probably going to test it out to see what happens for the next half hour. And if you got questions, let me know. I think it takes a while for YouTube to get the whole 9 yards out. Anyways, let's talk about what I'm working on the new idea. I've talked about AI and trading. I just put up my webinar from 2 nights ago on my membership, so people should get access to it that are part of my analytics crew. So that's been made available. Lots to take away from there. Today I've been working on some interesting stuff. Hello. Oh, thank you. Bonsoir. Bonsoir. Appreciate that. What I've been working on lately, just crazy chemistry in my head, came up with an idea to, if you see my dashboard, where it will look at 30, 40, up to 60, 70 instruments, depending upon volume. What it will do, I'm able to use it for back testing, have it analyze it, rank it, and then forecast with a walk forward analysis. It uses 1 minute data, so the historical data goes back 1 month. Hello, Mr. Predrag, thanks for joining. Had a very successful stream last night, my very first. Anyway, so I was saying about what I'm working on right now, using very costly, is the world of AI. And what's happening is I've extended the approach of this dashboard I just created. So what I've done is I've added now the ability for it to generate a PDF. So what it's going to do as I iterate through it, I'm hoping to get a generic PDF generated where I'll rank all the profitable instruments that, based upon that walk forward analysis, and then what it will do is I'll rank it, and then it will give, here's the drivers why this instrument will move forward. So I'm kind of got that working already. It's pretty amazing, to be honest. So I thought I'd go a little farther, one step farther, which is the interesting one, is when you take this report, if you have not seen my videos in the past about the secret sauce of high frequency trading strategies, well, I'm going to apply that to this report. So what I'm going to have it do for each instrument that's profitable for the next, say, 30 days, what it will do is it'll say, give me the secret sauce that high frequency trading firms use for this particular instrument that you think is going to be profitable over the next month. So it will go out, bring back the strategies that these firms use, and then the big surprises, which I think can be done, is generate my code for me. If you are new to this, everything's all AI generated. And the interesting thing is all the steps are AI generated, but it can also generate code for you. So if you have a set of strategies available that it recommends, why not generate code from that? So you could code up in both Python and C++. So I'm going to try to do that over the next day to see how, if that can be done. And if it can be, that would be amazing. So the technology behind it's using Llama, as suggested by the by the the AI, and I lose track here. Yeah, I think we lost somebody. Anyways, yeah, so it'll generate the code from that, and using Olama, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about here, Mr. Pepster, is using both the available open source ones. I think GLM is probably the most advanced one because that's the one that's most updated. Everything else is fairly old. So I'm just going to try it out and just see what happens. And there's a Qwen 3 coder in there as well. So I might give it a shot and see what happens. Anyways, I'm just blabbing away here, killing time, because you hope that the AI will bring in all the people that I said, hey, come on out here on 7 o'clock. So I don't know. Mr. Pepster, do you have a question? I think you're the only one still here when we lost the other guy. Yeah, because that's what it's about. I just wanted to kill time here and just lay out what I'm doing as hopefully more people come in. We got 2 more people. Thank you for coming in. Let me know if you got questions while I'm blabbing here. I'm just killing time. When people comment with questions, I'll gladly answer the best I can. I have no idea how long I'm going to be on here for. Here is our previous guy. So question is, I am 23 years old and I dream of becoming an algorithmic trader, and I stopped studying after graduating from high school. Ooh, that's pretty hardcore. That's dedicated. But I have a good level of C++ and Rust, as well as other programming languages. Well, as you know, Guinea. I have to say, we had a guy from Kenya. I was like blown away on his work ethic as well on the webinar. Anyways, regarding your question, what I could suggest is you've got the coding skills. Yeah, I would look at the different LLMs out there, the advanced ones. The Chinese ones are very good, like DeepSeek, Qwen, for knowing how to use trading techniques. So they are very good. See, the problem with the US is a lot of bias in the US LLMs, I'm finding, whereas some of the Chinese-based ones are not so, have so much bias. And the DeepSeek one, as an example, is built by a hedge fund, a quantitative trading hedge fund. So they have all the data in there to generate your trading ideas. It's very powerful what you can build out. The hard part is just getting access to real world data, which is very expensive. As I said, got 140 US I'm paying now with the data and the API access to Rhythmic, so it's not cheap, but it works great. I've got the downloading working. I'm now at the phase where I'm actually going to test out some real orders as well. Yeah, I mean, to dream up what you're wanting to do is very possible. We had 2 scenarios I can probably be similar with. The Kenyan guy, his name was Bill. He had no programming experience, but I did a booking with somebody, and he wanted to know the outlook on his son, who was going into university, on what he should do, what he should study at university. I told him, and he had internships at some of these funds. So I told him for his son, he's got the programming chops, and I said the same thing. Go into the world of AI and play with everything, and just ask it questions, and specifically the Chinese ones, DeepSeek, Qwen, what else is there? Yeah, so those are probably the more popular ones. I'm going to be playing with a couple of more open source ones as well. Yeah, so that's what I'd probably recommend. If you got questions, for more questions, let me know. I have to say, I'm quite, live is working flawlessly. Yeah, thanks. But in terms of the opportunities now, they're much easier than they were 10 plus years ago. You were hand coding everything. which could take a couple of weeks. I shouldn't say that, but a couple of days to a couple of weeks. No problem, Mr. Algo Trader SN. Yeah, but it's a lot easier now with the world of AI. There's no doubt about it. I find with the AI, anything's possible. So YouTube's telling me what I should try out. Yeah, so it's pretty exciting stuff where we're at now. It makes life a lot easier. I'm able to code up stuff like literally not in minutes. Well, yeah, in minutes, as long as I'm willing to pay for it. I just did another round of, and again, I'm just back to blabbing here. So if you got a question, just type it up. Yeah, if anybody else joins, just type up your question. I'll stop, and I'm just here waiting for more people to come in, like I had last night. It got up to 8 people as well. But anyways, coming back to all the AI, I did another round of code generation with all the latest out there. I tried the new code ChatGPT 5.1. Didn't like it. The code generation comparable to Claude 4.5, it's nothing. Claude 4.5 rules it. Even Claude 4.1, and I also noticed that now there's both Claude 4.5 Sonnet and Opus. So the difference between the two are the amount of what's called the window size is much bigger. I can't remember which one's the bigger one, but they both have now full-on both Opus and Sonnet for 4.5. That includes all the reasoning and thinking as well. And I've been playing with those all the last few hours, and it's creating some pretty incredible stuff. It's so valuable. I don't think I'm going to release it. It's going to be my own unique edge, as I explained earlier. But it's very, 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 very powerful, and I'm paying a lot of money for it, but it's worth it. So if you got any questions, just type away. I'll stop and I'll jump in and answer your questions. But regarding back to the LLMs, Claude is incredible. I find that Claude probably is going to be ruling the roost for a while. And I think ChatGPT is going to have, I don't know if you heard the stories about ChatGPT. A couple of days ago, Sam Altman said, well, we don't make much money. We may need to have $1 million expenditure. We only make about $20 billion a year and blah, blah, blah. We don't worry about it. And then boom, he goes begging to the government for it. And he might get it because as a lot of countries start to gear up for potential this war thing, that they may become a very, strategic investment from the government. So OpenAI could be one of those, like gold mines and all the intel fabrication that's needed for the next upcoming, Sometimes ChatGPT feels outdated or unable to generate Rust without critical errors. Yeah, I will agree. I've not yet worked with Rust. I will say that Claude is very good with C++ and Python. I find ChatGPT and the Chinese LLMs are, like, if I say in a prompt, I want this, like, first I'll put out a code base, okay? And then I'll come back with a big, long code base. It could be like a 500, maybe even 1,000 lines in the code. And then the first factor that will matter is, can I run it right out of the gate? A lot of the Chinese ones, there's always errors. The ChatGPT 5.1 had errors as well. That's in Python. Sorry. But with the latest in Claude, I don't get any errors, very rarely. But you have to understand that my prompting is so advanced. It's not like we're building a hello world program here. They're very advanced. But generally I'm finding Claude gives the least amount of errors. We've got a new, yeah. So if you got questions or comments, let me know, man. You're more than welcome to chime in here. Well, I don't know where it's going to go because I'm using ChatGPT, right? Then there's the codex from OpenAI as well. So I think they're going to have a codex version to keep up with the 5.1. Now, people may not know, but I read, was it 2 nights ago, maybe last night, Gemini 3 is coming out. So usually what I'm seeing is because when the new ChatGPT 5 came out, the night before OpenAI brought out these new iterations, the night before it came out. So we'll see what happens when they come out with the new Gemini. I think that's why OpenAI brought out ChatGPT 5.1 in response to the new Gemini 3. And the Gemini 3 probably is going to be light years ahead of the 2.5. If you got questions, let me know. We're here to answer. But regarding the LLMs again, I just found there's ChatGPT 5 Pro. I'm not giving that one a whirl. And then there's a ChatGPT 5.1 now, and you go, what is the difference between all these? I kind of know the difference between various DeepSeek ones, but with these Pro versus the 0.1, I just don't know, to be honest. But I'm at a point now where it's like, just stick with Claude. You guys got questions? Let me know. Comments as well. We're all here. I'm just here to kill time and just speak to a camera and see who's out there. So anybody, welcome. If you're just coming in, I have no idea how many people. I do know once we started reaching about close to half an hour, it just started to accelerate the number of people coming in. I did schedule this and put the word out on my email list. So hopefully a little bit of bigger crowd. It was a very good crowd last night. We had some good questions as well. So I'm just repeating the process here. If you haven't seen it, it's under the live. Also, I've been using a piece of software. I'm not too happy with that one versus using the YouTube app. It's been very good. Why is Python suitable for high frequency trading? It's actually not suitable. It's just easy to work with. Most trading firms, what they'll do is they'll use Python for research using something like a Jupyter as well. I don't use Jupyter at all. All my sessions are now done in the CLI of whatever AI LLM I'm using, and then just grabbing the output and just doing it old school like the old C days in the 90s. Anyways, so Python's used for research, and then C++. Kind of hard to say about Rust right now, but C++ is where they do the execution. So before AI, what they do is they convert the model that they're building out and then convert it over to C++ for production. That's generally the working path of how the firms do it. So that's kind of how that's done. Especially now with AI, I think on the webinar we had a few nights ago, I've been getting a lot of people requesting about MetaTrader and MQL4 and 5 and all that. These are proprietary languages for both MetaTrader, then there's TradingView, PineScript. The cool thing about a lot of these is that to convert from one language to another, it can be done. I don't know how accurate it's going to be between both languages, but I think as the AI LLMs advance and become more competitive among each other, you'll find that the process will be much better. We'll have less errors, less exceptions. And with Claude, I don't see much difference in terms of that when it comes to C++ and Python. The thing is, if you're just working with bare bones C++, what you can do is C++ in Linux, just a straight up, in my case, the C++ file, the header, and then your make file. That's all you really need. And then you can plug that into, I use CLion for C++ as an IDE. At some point I have to move over to, for years I've been trying to move over to VS Code. I'm just struggling with that move over, but I do like my CLion. This is less bloated. And same with the PyCharm. No problem, Mr. Algo Trader SN. If you got other questions, let me know. As I said, this is about answering questions and engaging with folks. But coming back to the setup I've got, as I said, I could say the late 80s, many of you probably weren't bored. When you're working with C, they didn't have a thing called an IDE. Let's see here. I'm going to put up a sticker. Fun weekend plans. Oh, I don't have. I work. Apparently, I can do Q&As here. How do I get out of this? Okay, I guess what are we planning for the weekend or something or other? I don't know. Anyways, coming back to I work. I like working. I like doing what I do. So that's my plan. Coming back to the AI. Before that in C and then kind of C++. Hello, JD Winkleman. How are you? If you got questions or comments, let me know. But as I said, when it came to C, IDEs didn't exist. So that's my world now. I just use a text editor, run it against the makefile or a compiler, and boom, boom, boom. That's it. It's very raw, very primitive. As I say, real men work with VI, not VIM, not VI, and that's in Linux. If you know VI, you're going way back, like COBOL days. So VI, and then there's VI Improve, which is VIM. Are you working in the blockchain like meme code and arbitrage? No, I don't. That's a good question. Right now, I was just saying to Predrag earlier, I do scans of news every day, and what I'm finding less and less news on crypto. I love crypto. I'm not here to poo-poo crypto, but what I'm finding, because crypto overall as an asset class is not as predictable as it used to be, like meaning there are long-term trends and momentum, it's not happening. The volatility is crazy, it's unpredictable, and it's either, the only things I'm seeing news on is either Bitcoin or XRP, but I do think with this new stablecoin stuff, it's just taken all the creative, everything out of the crypto space, specifically in altcoins. One thing I'm also noticing is, where did I go? Here. There I am. Oh. Sorry, I'm new to this. That's pretty cool. I'm like a magician. Anyways, but going back to crypto, Ethereum seems to be outperforming Bitcoin for whatever reason. But I've kind of gone over on the futures aspect of things with Rhythmic. If you got other questions or comments, let me know. I'm just blabbing again. But as I said before, what I'm discovering is I'm with futures and options, EdgeClear, but I'm using Rhythmic data and the trading. Because I'm with EdgeClear, with Rhythmic, I don't have access to the crypto. No Bitcoin, no Ethereum. But with EdgeClear, they're going to give me access if I request it. I can get access to the Coinbase derivatives market, and that's fully sanctioned by the CFTC. So there's opportunity there, but there's just not enough volume to drive it because I just don't know what the volume is when it comes to crypto in Coinbase derivatives. If you got questions, comments, let me know. I'll jump in. But going back to the crypto, just looking at Coinbase, if you know about BlackRock, they were apparently a week ago dumping millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars of Ethereum, okay? And it was caught with a couple of BlackRock wallets because they just announced an Ethereum ETF or Ether ETF. So they were dumping all this Bitcoin onto Coinbase Prime. So with Coinbase, it gets very confusing. Yes, Hitchum, that's right. It's Brian. Yes, but with BlackRock, they're dumping all the Ethereum onto Coinbase Prime. So Coinbase Prime is now becoming the large institutional exchange for crypto on Coinbase Prime. Then there's Coinbase Deribit, which they took over. Coinbase what's the other one? Coinbase derivative market, and then there's Coinbase's spot market. This is like 4 different markets and exchanges that Coinbase operates, and they're also big guardians of a lot of the ETFs out there run by the big, the BlackRock, Fidelity, and all them. So they're the guardians of their ETFs. So hopefully I'll answer it out for you as well. As I said, you guys, if you got questions, let me know, or comments. I'm more than game to answer whatever you got. That's what I'm here for, just to blah, 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 and answer questions or whatever you got. Yeah, Brian Downing is the channel. I just renamed it back to Quant Labs just to raise my profile on YouTube. It was suggested I do that, did that, it's doing okay. So I just renamed it from the Brian Downing profile to Quant Labs, which it used to be. So that's what I'm doing now. But as I said here, I am online talking to you guys. Just so you know, I'm part of a YouTube boot camp, so this will be my one video I required to get so I can move into the next phase boot camp next year, 2026. But got some great tips and people in there. Pretty crazy stuff. So I've been told the vertical streaming is where it's at. So here I am. I gotta say, I love the questions, man. Keep them coming. So Algo Trader SN, I usually spend my weekends coding and reading discussions on Elite Trader. If you have other niche forums focused on algo trading to recommend, I'd be happy to check them out. Okay. Elite Trader is an excellent forum. I do think some of the forums on Reddit as well is good. Like there's a couple of subreddits, like one on algo trading that's pretty good. Let me think here. Again, that's for algo trading. In terms of quant specific, I don't know if there's any subreddits on Reddit that are quant specific. There's something called, if you Google it, Quant Exchange. I think it's called Quant Exchange on Stack Overflow. Like Stack Overflow is now a network of different niche networks of forums. So the specific ones where, as far as I know, there's some institutional level Quant Exchange, I believe it's called. It's on the same as the network that's run by Stack Overflow. But I think all these forums are dying out because of AI. I mean, a lot of people go there to get their questions answered. But now with AI, I don't know. I still find with influencers now, they just BS badly and lie through their teeth promoting stuff. And there's just a lot of bad stuff going on with influencers. So people resort on forums because it's legit. And I'm not a big fan of posting content on Reddit, but I love reading the subreddits on Reddit because it's honest, right? There's good feedback on there as well. So if you could find anything related to that, like the CPP one, people BS on there, they're going to get called out, and that's a good thing. Stack Overflow is still pretty useful. It just depends, like for specific one I forgot for... what's it called? Quantnet.com. That's a big one. Quantnet.com. That's mostly for university students, I believe, that talk about quant, career related around quant. Quantnet.com. They're big. They're kind of like the institutional level. And one other one a lot of people don't know about, there's an app called Blind. Okay, so what it is if you're from a company, you're going to use your employer's email to verify you for that app. It's called Blind. So if you're on Facebook, Apple, whatever, you're going to be at facebook.com. So you're going to use that email on Blind to verify that you're with Facebook, you're an employer of Facebook. But the cool thing is once you register with Blind, they know you're an employee of Facebook, but you're anonymous. So when you go on there, there's a lot of people from the HFD firms on that thing. And you may want to go onto Blind to check it out. It's a pretty incredible resource where people talk about their jobs. They talk about their technical and mostly the salary as well. So that's something I'd look at. It's called blind.com, but there's an app for it. Really good app, and they just talk about career again. Okay, so let's answer Hitchum's question. Have you ever been in a quantitative finance profession like working for a hedge fund? Yeah, that's a good question. I've worked in a bank for a couple of years, but had nothing to do with the capital markets. Here in Canada, we have 5 big banks, so I worked for one of them for 3 years. But I've worked with subcontracting through one employer. This is going back in the years, in the last financial crisis in 2008-9 period. I've also worked at through a subcontractor here in Canada. We have a Crown Corporation called our Canada Pension Investment Board. I worked next to the trading desks, building out supportive tools for them. And it was more connectivity with call center related stuff. So I have been exposed to that. I'd worked there probably on and off for almost a year. But again, I don't put that sort of stuff on my resume or on my LinkedIn anymore. So yeah, I have worked a little bit at a CPPIB for a year, many years ago. Interesting spot. They're a large player out there. They're kind of like the Calipers, the teachers union, where they have their own pension plan, and a lot of them do have quant operations and trading desks, and do their own trading as well. So I kind of been exposed to it many years ago. But I was still, my specialty back then was call center stuff. So that's where I got my exposure. And then over time, when I went into the self-employed route, I ended up here where I'm doing this now 14 years. So there you go. Anybody else got questions? I think we lost people here. I think I blabbed too much. Anybody out there? Cool. You've been exposed to it, so that is why you're so into it. You know, Hitchum, that's a good question, though. I got into capital markets, we'll call it, financial, because there's people that are addicted to stats of sports. I'm addicted to the financial stuff, and then blending in the technology as well. So what really got me into it, I'm going to be honest with you, back at that time when I was kind of laid off, I was in a program for self-employment sponsored by my federal government. And I was like, what do I do? And I ended up, you know what really got me into it? Let me tell you something. I've never said this publicly ever before. The reason I got into trading, automated trading, is because you probably know. This is back in 08, 09, okay? What got me into it was we have a large book chain. It was kind of like a Barnes & Noble. We had an equivalent of that, and I'm like scanning the book rack, and you know what I saw? You know what got me anticipated on that? It said, How to Run Your Own Algo Trading Business by Dr. Ernie Chan. And I think that was his second book. No, that would have been his first book, sorry. And then I realized Dr. Ernie Chan was not local to me, but he was like 2 hours away from me from my city, Toronto. He lives in Niagara now. And I just emailed him, and he responded. I'm like, oh, this is cool. I went down to meet him, and we started chatting and blabbing. He knew I was a technical guy. And we did that for about a year. This guy's awesome. Ernie Chan is amazing. If you go onto my channel, you'll see some of the earliest stuff online where he presents stuff going back years ago on my channel. Just look up Dr. Ernie Chan. And the cool thing about him was I used to sit there talking with him about C#, and I think I kind of got into MATLAB a little bit. He was a MATLAB guy back then. And you know what that guy did on his next 2 books? He said, as a reference back to myself, as a resource, as a thank you for helping him get into C#. So he put my name in the first 2 editions, the following 2 books. So I think he's brought out some new a second edition, so that's been wiped out. But if you look at his early books, yeah, I got called out to help him out on the technology on those next two books that he put out after '09, 2010, and so on and so forth. So yeah, yeah, no, I kind of know him, and I've been meaning to bring him back into doing a webinar for the channel. He's game, but he's a busy guy. I follow him on LinkedIn, and I know he's going to go. He does this every year. He goes over and he does his Imperial College a talk. And I think he hosts his own courses as well. So he's been doing that for quite a while, and he does some other college in Hong Kong as well. Okay, so just to let people know, I'm here to answer questions, comments, and stuff. Can someone compete with HFT firms from their bedroom and their parents' house? Yes. I could sit here and say negative stuff about the outlook on employment, but one of the reasons why I like Dr. Ernie Chan, because you can run yourself as a business, self-employed, especially now with AI. If you've not seen some of the stuff that I've seen from one of the AI, it's very possible to do it. It's only going to cost you about $150,000. But what it entails is AI is so advanced. You're not going to run it from your bedroom. But what you'll remote into your servers is you go out, and the expenses are, let's say, $20,000 for a customized rig, FPGA, the whole 9 yards. If you're in the States and you have the ability, you can drop that server into Aurora, which is one of the data warehouses for the CME, Chicago Mercantile Exchange. Once you get access to that, you will get access to data and data feeds that are proprietary to the CME for your answer, for your strategy. This is insider stuff. So some of these data feeds will be $10,000 a month. Okay, that's why you're starting out with 150 grand. But if you have a strategy that actually works and you prove it, and it's very easy to do. I won't say easy to do, but it's very applicable to do it in with AI now, and train it, blah, 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 model it, back test it, whatever you got to do. And once you're comfortable with it, you can go into one of these warehouses, let's say the CME, and trade up, and you could do crazy. Like some of the numbers that came back, you'll basically, if you're going to start 150,000, you could probably make that money back in probably 2 weeks if it's perfectly runs well. Okay, and yeah, you could run that from your home, right? So it is possible. I'm sure the Chinese folks, the really, really smart ones, they're doing this. They're doing this already. I'm sure of it. Because again, that came from an AI, and it's a Chinese AI, and yet they got to be doing it. They got to be doing this. There's probably people out there doing this already. We just don't know about them. And they're probably making, and once you get a rig set up, a server, you can go half a rack or a full rack, and then you could scale up that strategy, and then just basically turn it into a printing machine for money. I'm not saying that it's possible, but I don't see what's stopping you. If you've got the funds, the work ethic, and you code up something that's really good, yeah, why not? I think it's very possible. But to compete with these HF teams, the hard part being having a profitable strategy algo or getting the funding, the 150K you said. You could do it as little as 30,000 because you, as I said, you have the rig that you got at the hardware. You have to also start with capital, and then if you have to choose if you want to work with these proprietary data feeds. I have them behind my paywall. They do exist, and they give the specific name of the data feed. It could be from the ICE, it could be from the CE, it could be from other firms that you don't know about. So I've seen them, I verified them, they do exist. It's just a matter of actually implementing it. So if you're in the States, you're doing pretty good. Now, as you said, you're competing against the HFT firms, yes. And you are needing to find ways to get front of the line. But that's where the AI comes in to kind of get yourself a trading edge, which I've been experimenting now for the last couple of weeks to find that edge with the dashboards that I'm building out. Yeah, so I'm not saying it's possible or not possible. It's doable, right? You just got to know how to prompt, got to know how to, and then take action and actually implement it. So getting a fund is as difficult to building a working algorithm in trading. To answer that, part of the expense when it comes to setting up these kind of independent HFT operations, you're going to have to navigate the regulator. You're going to have to know how to set up all the legal. So the AI always says set up a Delaware LLC corporation. You need to spend about $6,000 to $9,000 on the legal to find a lawyer to help you set that up and navigate the regulation. Because when you come up, I think that whole process is much more difficult than the strategy itself, or the whatever you want to call it. That legal and regulatory is way more difficult to navigate than actually the hardware and software. But I do think once you are willing to pay that and get past that, it's just that one step. And once you're in and the CME can trust you, or whatever exchange you're with, they trust you, then it's all easy from there. So that's the hard part. One thing you need to understand is with the two things I should mention here, very important, is when you get the legal, you will need to talk about your kill switch. Because when you sign up to your capital provider, like I'm with Philip, you have to put out there your kill switch on all your strategies. And if you get liquidated up to 80%, they shut you down. It's an automatic thing now to prevent these I forget what you call them. But there's that. And what people need to understand now is that there's new regulation coming. So all the zero time to expire on options, that's all going to be wiped out. So they're bringing in new regulation for both stock and futures that will get rid of these kind of things. So what we know on how to do the spoofing, front running, all that's going to go away with this new regulation. Just so you know, because of the unfairness, and it does leave the entire market, the capital system, vulnerable, and the regulators know that. So they're bringing in new regulation to prevent that from happening. That's what the AI is telling me. So just be aware if you're planning to go down this. And the other thing they mention is, if you're caught doing this, without question, they just steal your servers. Hang on here. Okay, so hello, Moneymaker. What do you see as the biggest latency bottleneck, hardware, software? I would say it's network, especially if you're going up against the Citadel. Citadel spent a lot of money on their microwave technology between all the different data centers. So with the CME, one of the AI things told me, if you want access to this, because now the CME provides that as a service, it's $12,000 a month. So you can kind of compete on that. But it does come down to network latency speed. And a lot of it is really network, and because everything hardware is, most of the solutions I've seen through AI is through an FPGA. And the FPGA now, from what I'm seeing with some of the new boards coming out, they're enabling where you could put in AI embedded right into the board. So again, that's all new to me. Okay, so I know we got some questions coming in here, hard and fast. You guys got questions? Keep them going. I'm not going to stop here until I got everything out of the way. Have you been able to set up an HFT algo on an IB before, and was it easy to set up? Hello, JDI. Okay, so yeah, if you're going to do the HFT thing, I think you got to be on the futures and options and go through the regular channels that are sanctioned by the CME. Was it easy to set up? I went through EdgeClear. They were very strict on all kinds of things. I'm a Canadian. I used an old, surprisingly, Social Security number. So that was what saved me. But if you're planning to use your tax authority number, that could be a problem for people. But without that, you don't go very far. That's probably the most complicated thing. And just wiring the money to the right set of accounts with my EdgeClear was another. That was through the teller of the bank, but it wasn't that difficult. But it's setting up any trading accounts is getting harder because of the regulatory. But HFT, I could do it. The only thing is the capital is going to prevent me. Like I've said before, if you're starting out and money's a problem, you start at 1,500 US in an account for micros, and then once you get happy with that, you go to the next big boy thing, which is the minis, 5,000. Once you get to a profitable, consistent strategy, then you can go up to the big boy stuff where it's like 50,000, 100,000. Okay, so you could go down that plan. Also, was it easy to set up? No, but I do think the HFT strategy itself is obviously the most difficult, be it software or hardware. Okay. So IB, I'm assuming you meant IB is introductory broker. So my introductory broker is EdgeClear. There's AMP. There's what else is there? There's a pile of them. Iron Beam. But yeah, make sure it's sanctioned by the CME. Now with interactive brokers, which I'm also a customer, they can do everything for you. The problem with interactive brokers is the data can be aggregated, so you're not getting a true data that you would get as if you're on Rhythmic. I'm with Rhythmic, and what I like about with Rhythmic is if I decide and I want to scale up to go into the what do you call the data centers from CME. I mean, this is big boy stuff. Rhythmic has services available where you can, it's kind of like Speedy, where you can get a customized server that will house in their data centers. Rhythmic has the same service. Nobody knows about it, but when you apply and you get approved by Rhythmic, there is a service that they provide. You can spend $300 to $500 to get a server hosted either in the data center. I have to confirm that, but definitely in the same data center with that big, firewall between the CME but you're next to it. But yeah, you can do that with Rhythmic. It's kind of interesting. But you do, and that's going to work on Windows NT, I believe, old NT or Red Hat Linux. Your experience, which type of market is easier for building profitable trading strategies? Stocks, futures, crypto, or others? The asset class I tell people is you want to go futures and options. If you're trying to do this as any of the career, you have to be futures and options, because majority of the HFT shops are in exactly options and futures. So with that, you're going to get all the things you mentioned: the stocks, the cryptos, and all the commodities and everything else, currencies as well. The easiest is hard to say. It depends what's trading, or it's dependent upon volume. Right now, the most highest volume right now is the markets. The stock markets. The ES, which is the S&P, or the NASDAQ, or even the Russell. Those are easiest based upon volume, gold, obviously, and so on and so forth. So that's the easiest based upon the volume. I wish I could give you a better answer. That's kind of hard to say. That's why I scan everything, see what's out there that has an opportunity to actually move in the right thing. You have been speaking a lot about Rhythmic recently. Data Bento is faster data provider in the 50 nanoseconds. Yes, that's true, but it's just Data Bento is only that, data, okay? You can't execute trades on Data Bento. So if you are trying to use data That's fine, but you gotta execute through somewhere, and that's what Rhythmic does. It does both the trading execution along with the data as well, and they're all coming from the same data source. But out of all the options that I've seen, Rhythmic is the cheapest. CQG is $500 a month as well. But Data Bento, it's really meant for just streaming data. But okay, where do I trade? How do I trade? You got to go through some venue, and there's not very many venues. And the most popular at the retail level is going to be your what am I saying? It's going to be your Rhythmic. For my research, Data Bento, I've looked at. Yes, they are faster. The blah 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 blah. There's no doubt on that. But if you want that level of service, you move up. I don't know the pricing, but with the Rhythmic, they have something called the Rhythmic Diamond, and that's really meant for HFT shops. But I think that's also your trading venue where you can execute your trades. That's the problem with Data Bento, and it's very expensive. So I don't know. I have to research that more, but I'm happy with Rhythmic. It's good enough for me where I'm at right now. What's the closest thing available to retail traders that isn't FPGA? We don't seem to be playing on a level playing field. Very good question. That's true. FPGA is hard because it's hardware. Most people that come into FPGA are going to be your electrical engineers coming out of, let's say, undergrad, electrical engineer, or going through electrical engineer right through to PhD to get in these HFT firms. So it's a different mindset. It's a different level of requirements. So the next best is obviously software engineering. A good option to look at, model off of, is Optiver, because they use both FPGA and they both use with the software like C++ as an example. But the C++ coding that you're used to, they're not doing in, like if it's for trading HFT related, it's not going to be using object-oriented, your traditional way. It's going to be using it's going to be actually more like C, where it's going to be close right to the bare bone and using all the bypassing the kernel. It's DPKG or DKPJ. It's the open source library from Intel, which will enable Linux to bypass the entire kernel of Linux and just get rid of and minimize on the jitterness of the Linux kernel. So there's that. So most of the firms that I'm seeing on the AA responses is done in C. So that's the best option, and that's a very totally different level of trading, knowledge on C++. In the world of meta and C++, you're looking at things like metaprogramming, which is like, that's another world. So look at metaprogramming in C++ on the software side for the coding to get into as close as you can with the true HFT is metaprogramming, or meta template programming, I should say. Meta template. Okay, that's to reduce the latency, because you're going through this DPKG and all that stuff. There's a lot more to it. I've not gone down that path, but in terms of FPGA, the one option from learning, to be honest, I've looked at is using MATLAB as well. If you want to learn FPGA, just look at MATLAB. They have some FPGA toolboxes that focuses on, you could do something like a Simulink chart visually, build a model, and then you can add in another toolbox that will take that visual and then it will generate your FPGA code, both either HDL or Verilog, depending upon your board. That's how to level a playing field from the option of knowledge or engineering. In terms of cost, FPGA boards are not very expensive. There's a really good option though. Okay, so a lot of people don't know this. I'm happy to mention this. AMD. So NVIDIA and all the other AI GPU manufacturers, including the FPGA manufacturers like Xilinx. AMD's coming now out with a whole slew of hardware that's a combination of FPGA and GPU. So they're just bringing that out in the last couple of months. So there's a company called VULTR. They're a cloud provider. They try to compete against the Amazon, AWSs, and the Azures and the Google Cloud. But what's happened with this Vultr, VULTR, they have now been funded by AMD to provide now AMD custom hardware with this new set of gear on the cloud. Yeah, so this is kind of cool. I haven't looked into it, but it's something I think it's going to become over time, moving forward, will become a new option for all of this. And they're just now starting to talk about AMD's the next big NVIDIA with the hype on it. So I would start looking at AMD, the new hardware. And if you're really interested on the networking side through the cloud, take a look at VULTR, Vultr. It's very exciting. It's going to make things more accessible. And I would not be surprised that CME or someone's going to now say, oh, we can now add in these new AMD hardware cloud solutions into their network. So if you can do that right now and tinkering around with the cloud options now from AMD via Vultr, do it. Because I think that's potentially going to be a big thing in the coming months as more hype builds on Wall Street on where AMD has come about. It's very exciting there. So that's something I'd look at. Also, if you would like, for example, data bento and execute using another service, wouldn't that be a problem because it has a different data stream? No. The problem is, again, if you're trying to kind of like use a high frequency trading mindset, which I try to keep up with, you want to get out of that. You want to de-weed yourself from that mindset of the MetaTrader if you're in that world, or even in Python and stuff. You want to get into what and how HFT firms work. And one of the things is you got to worry about real true latency. So in order to do that, you want to try to work with one source. So if you're going from, let's say, data bento as your data provider and moving into, let's say, interactive brokers for your execution, right there you have latency. You see what I'm saying? So if you're with, let's say, a Rhythmic, you start small at something affordable, and then as you start to scale out with real trading that actually ends up being profitable, then you move into the big boy stuff, the Rhythmic Diamond API service. And then if you can really do it, and you got the funds to provide it, then you move into their hardware solution for dropping onto their custom hardware through Rhythmic. It's a different company, but it's still, there seems to be some association with it. Again, it's just off the record. Nobody knows about it. I only know about it because now I've been using Rhythmic. And from my point of view, I think Rhythmic is the best option for this because it's both affordable, it's accessible, and then as you build out a strategy or a set of strategies that work, then you move into something like the Diamond, and then you can probably get right into the data center as well. The only time when you will cut out a Rhythmic or any other provider like that is when you start working with the CME directly, which you can do, but it's, as I said, it's not cheap. And then you have to sign up for a year term, which is not, you're looking at minimum 50, probably $100,000 minimum set of agreements you have to sign up with and agree with on CME. But that's your next ultimate option because now you're working with the exchange. But the migration that would make sense to me is just go with the Rhythmic, start small, build your strategy, and then move into it with the Diamond and this custom hardware solution. That's what I'm seeing. I think interactive brokers is fine if you're just starting out and you don't have a lot of money. I would definitely go with interactive brokers for that. But as you get real and start trying to move into a production environment, Rhythmic's your best option. So let's see here. Moneymaker, hello Moneymaker. If you guys got questions and stuff, thanks for asking. Okay, so you say Rhythmic Diamond is perfect on paper. There just isn't a lot of information about it, pricing and documentation. What can you share with? I have not looked into the Diamond service. I do know it exists. I'm sure I haven't, like, even if I knew about it, like the API in terms of service will prevent me from talking about it. It's the way it is. I do know it exists. I don't know the cost of it, but it's just the next more sensible migration from retail to kind of going into the, not quite, obviously not institutional level, but close to it. Just that migration's easier because you don't have to change anything on the APIs front, I would assume, because once you go and changing your API from one API to another provider, that can be a real pain. Like going from interactive brokers to Rhythmic was a real pain. I mean, AI can help, obviously, but that's something you would have to consider in terms of the documentation and all that. I can't really answer that because I haven't really looked into it. What I can tell you from a Python perspective, originally I thought if you're using a package that's specifically wrapped around Rhythmic, it was not possible. I can say there's the three options with Rhythmic. There's the Python, the C++, and then we'll call it the other, which is the demonstration code you get is either JavaScript or Python. You don't want to go down these paths. They're just really ugly. Like you got to download something for the C++ and blah, 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 blah. I'm not there yet. I'm doing it as easy as I can. So I'm using a wrapper that you can find on GitHub that seems to work and still is updated called async, ASYNC_Rhythmic. That's Python. I got that working right out of the gate. So that's probably something I'd look at and practice with before you start moving into it. There's not a lot of documentation available on Rhythmic because that's how they like to keep it. So, but I can tell you from a high level, I don't work for Rhythmic. I have nothing to do with Rhythmic, nor do I get anything from Rhythmic for saying this. Just from my experience so far, if you're moving into this, I'd probably go with them. And then work with a really good introducing broker that has that arrangement with Rhythmic. The only way, I'll give you a tip. If you're trying to use Rhythmic and go to Rhythmic and say, hey, I want to get a demo API, they probably aren't going to answer. I went that route and they never answered. And at the same time, they canceled my demo account, which I never had. But once I got signed up with the Edge Clear, and then they introduced me into Rhythmic, and I start getting billed with Rhythmic through the Edge Clear and through my Phillip Capital. Then they started responding. They started answering the support. So that's how Rhythmic works, and CQG, I'm sure, works the same way. They don't want the public to know how it all works. So you got to go the same path, depending upon what introductory broker you want. There's no other way. And I don't think I'm allowed to speak about how it works and I'm not prepared to do that. But the easiest way, if you want to get close to it, is just looking for that wrapper async_Rhythmic. That works fine. And then you can learn from that because obviously it's on GitHub. So I believe it's across connected to the exchange. I think that's coming back to Data Bento. Yeah, it might be from the exchange, but they're all from the same source, right? So when I looked into Data Bento, they wanted, $2,000 a month, I think, for like tick data. It was scary, and that was a year term as well. It was like $2,000 a month, and right now I'm paying like for the futures on the CME with Rhythmic. It's $100. It's a no-brainer right there. In terms of the option stuff, I'm still confirming that, and the pricing as well for the execution as well. So again, I'm not here to advertise and promote Rhythmic. It's just from my point of view. If you want to go the institutional route and migrate towards that, I'm just finding the easiest path is via Rhythmic. That's all I can tell you. And yeah, like once I work with a native API with a C++, I'm not looking forward to it. It will be done. But right now I'm just using that wrapper one, the async rhythmic, and it works. So I can confirm that for sure. If you guys got questions or comments, let me know. As I said, I've been here for over an hour. Appreciate you being here. Really good questions, guys. I don't know if you're through my website or you're just randomly showing up on YouTube. Yeah, I don't mind answering questions, whatever you have. But yeah, hopefully everyone's still here that started it out. Thanks for the likes as well. Yeah, so that's kind of where everything's at with the rhythmic. I had one comment. A guy said, "Oh, where's your track record?" Well, I've been at this for many years. I have traded live, and I had a track record via cointracking.info. So I had that for a while. And I could have, if I want, my interactive brokers, but I just said no. I want to focus on futures and options. A year ago, this time, that was my path. And then AI came along and just threw me off even more, which is fine. I'm very happy to be here using the AI like I am and developing the dashboards and stuff that I'm able to develop very quickly. Once I show you what I'm working on now, hopefully maybe tomorrow, Monday, yeah, your mind will be kind of blown. Now it's just the real thing is to throw real live money on it, because that's the only way to test it. So I'm just starting a tiny amount at 1,500, and then yeah, if it gets serious, then I'll go up to the minis at 5,000 a month. Or sorry, 5,000 to start with. Yeah, so if you guys got questions or comments, let me know. Happy to answer. I'll be doing more of these, just see how YouTube treats the channel as I do more of these. But how can I join your program, or is the $27 offer still alive? No, it's a little more than that. But I do have a Black Friday. Just go to the website, quantlabsnet.com, which used to be quantlabs.net, but now it's quantlabsnet.com. And just, you have two options there. Just, you can either book my time, I can help guide you. It's very affordable. If you want, just try out. I have a try option on there. Just join my email list. That's the best way. And I do have a promotion on for obviously Black Friday, which right now is a 75% off. So if you want that, jump on that. That's the best path I can give you. But I do think if all this works out with Rhythmic and the futures, which I hope it does, I'll know hopefully by the end of the month. Yeah, I'm going to have to jack up the pricing because the value is just kind of like bonkers. I've got over 200 projects on that membership right now, and that came from a quant institutional stuff. It's very institutional, and it's next generation as well. It includes quantum computing, it includes agents, includes some projects on MCP, also includes, what's the other one? RAG, R-A-G. I've looked at LangChain, which I'm not a fan of because you have to download all the torch and all that. Don't want it. Don't want to be involved with it. It's too big. If you got questions, let me know. Comments, I'm happy to answer. Part of the thing is when I like we have Pepe on here, hopefully still, and there's the path. When it comes to AI, you have the path of either downloading and hosting your own set of LLMs on a whatever, your laptop, desktop, whatever. So that's always an option. I find that the models are kind of outdated. Hey, Project, you probably can help out on this, but this is my impression, what I'm seeing with this home-based LLM stuff. I just started this tonight, last few hours. I'm no expert on it. Yeah, so he's saying LM Studio, that one of the AI that I'm using, which is the Claude, is the olama.com, olama.ai Very easy to download. I'm doing it through a Linux. Very easy. Very minimal. I started with Olama 3X, we'll say. Works great. My AI generated dashboard integrates with it. Could generate a report now dynamically using that. It's good, man. And then when you go through the models that's available through the Olama, there's one called, I believe it's called, is it called GKM? And that's updated very frequently. And when you do the scan of all the different Chinese LLMs, a lot of people like that LLM a lot. Nobody knows about it. And it's updated through this Camel Olama. I'm like, so I'm going to try this out and see how it generates code and stuff. And if it works, I'm definitely on that for sure. And it's all free. And the thing is, that can be hosted on your computer. And I noticed you can do the same with the cloud option as well. So I'm always about cloud because it's hardware that you have to dedicate and keep the thing up to date. The way it's working, I haven't tried the LM Studio yet, but I'm just going to keep it simple right now for the Olama. But the GKM, or one of those models is available that's just been updated in the last month. Yeah, I'm going to try it out and see what I come up with over the next month. It's powerful stuff, very powerful. And I'm using AI to create it all. That's what I love about it. So if you guys got any comments or questions about that, Project's very good on this. He's probably the guy who's always up to date on that. I'm just kind of like the slowpoke that kind of plays around. I'm using various different AI solutions. There you go. LM uses CUDA Vulkan 2. There you go. If you got questions for him, might be a time to ask him. But I use right now, and I'm paying through the nose for it, that Claude, man. That Claude is awesome, that 4.5. You have to factor in a few things here when it comes to AI. Yes, you can do all this hand coding. If you were to bill yourself out on an hourly basis, so let's say you're being paid, I don't know, 150, 200 an hour, are you willing to spend $200 an hour of your own time hand coding things and building all these solutions out? It's painful for me. Whereas if you're willing to spend maybe $100 a month with with Claude, the productivity is immense. It's huge. And I can't think of it any other way. So that's my path, right? Using Claude. I try to keep up to date with everything, and Claude is always light years ahead of everything else. That's just my view, my experience. So I'm just kind of getting more into this home-based stuff as well. How easy are these models to integrate into a trading platform? I think it's a lot easier now with the this Olama option. It's probably the easiest, but if I use Claude and say, hey, Claude, give me another option to use, let's say this LM Studio, and host it in my Linux environment, and then generate these things dynamically, I'm sure it can be done. And from what I'm seeing with currently, what I just did in the last few hours, I have no idea what I'm doing. I got it working instantly with Claude 4.5. It's that easy. And I'm not even looking at the code, may I remind you. It's that good. Oh my God, Ingrid's online. Hello, Ingrid, how are you? You know, they have a promo for Claude Code Web until the 18th. Jump on it, folks. I'm not here to promote Claude and Anthropic, but jump on it. Yeah, for sure. I love Claude, man. Claude is Ingrid's one of my members. She's a hardcore. Just so you know, all the webinars are up and running. Just let me know, and I'll gladly get you all hooked up. I think I've done 3 webinars over the last week, and tonight's another one. But I don't know what I'm going to do, if I'm going to do these streams, but I love doing these. It's great because I can talk to you guys and just blah, 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 no presentation, which I like doing. I'm just more of a guy who likes to to talk. It's easier instead of, oh, here's a PowerPoint, I'm going to present, and just run through it. There's different ways, but I prefer this method and just be free form blabbing. And yeah, so coming back to the LLMs and the AI stuff, I think things are getting easier, better in terms of home-based, and it's free. And again, I'm setting it up where I'm not using any API key. I purposely am not using any credentials. So I want to put that out there. So the option I purposely prompted with in the AI today or tonight was, give me some options that don't make me have to go out and get an API key, and I don't want to have to also use some kind of credential. So having that as an option now is pretty mind-blowing. No MCP servers needed, no AI agents. This is, to me, the most sensible path because I'm going to be honest, I just don't want to, I want to have less things tracking me. I had one, as an example, an AI LLM I was looking at. Oh, we have to sign up, get a API key, and then it gives me 15, in this case it's a Chinese, so it was 15 Chinese yuan. Oh, and then you start using it now, you have to fund the account, you have to blah, blah, blah. I'm really not prepared to do that right now. But I'm going to be honest, I may get down to that and just sign up with a particular LLM or provider that gives me the best set of solutions. Because Claude, just to be honest, if you got questions, just jump in and type away and I'll gladly answer it or comment on it. Right now, I would look at Claude, honestly, if they, the thing is with these, they have caps on them. I'm not quite prepared to spend, I don't know how much Claude is, if it's going to be $200-300 a month, but for the output, as I get more serious with it, I probably would do it with Claude. There's some other good ones as well, but Claude, the problem with the US LLMs is the bias. The bias is the problem because I think it can somewhat limit you, okay? And when I say limit you, if you ask, let's say, Open AI, any of their ChatGPT ones, or anything specifically like Perplexity, it's the answers it gives you can be very limiting. Even on Grok, it's the same. But if you ask the exact same question on some of the Chinese LLMs, I'm finding that bias doesn't exist. That could be any kind of bias. And it could also be a bias towards technology questions as well for competitive reasons. But with the Chinese, the reason I say this is because when you look when DeepSeek came out in February and look what it did to the stock market itself, nobody saw it coming. So it came out, knocked the stock market out for 5% because it said that yes, it is possible you can have this new Chinese LLM from nowhere be somewhat open source and at the same time be so affordable where the efficiency of it's 1/10 of the cost of any US LLM to operate the prompt, the querying for the prompts. So once that came out in February, what happened was ChatGPT and Sam Altman's always said, well, they didn't say it, but they had a bias built into the LLM, and same with Gemini with Google. And once DeepSeek came out, like a couple of weeks later, Sam Altman said, we no longer have bias in our models. That because of the Chinese LLMs don't have bias. I mean, they'll have certain bias, but not other types of bias that will hold back quality answers from the AI out of the US. So it's kind of good to have the Chinese ones because it keeps the US ones in check on the bias right now. A lot of it's driven by politics as well, as you know, unfortunately. If you guys got any questions or whatnot, an hour and 20 minutes. I appreciate you being here. So as it stands right now, for me, AI is changing everything. I'm kind of moving into these home-based AI, but I do think this particular model, GLM, G something, it's true open source, not restricted, and I'm going to play with it and see what happens. And that means I don't need an API key, and nor do I need to have the credentials to run it. Pretty powerful. I just want to test the quality of output on all the different types of prompting I do as well. You guys got any other further questions? I don't know. Are we running out of steam here? I don't mind being on this I'm free and clear for tonight and blabbing. I could do it tomorrow all day. Just tell me what you guys want to talk about. You want to talk about coloring books, or I think I had one guy last night ask me out of Hong Kong if I'm a sports fan. I'm like, I don't know if I want to get into that. Talk about, will I do my hair this weekend? What kind of shampoo I use. I like to keep it on topic. So anything out there for anybody? So yeah, if you're interested in what I'm doing, I do run quantlabsnet.com. We had some people last night ask about getting access to everything. That's where you get access to everything. Because I'd say 5% of what I see talk about publicly, even on my blog, 95% of it's behind my paywall. Tons of it, other than the webinars. So Moneymaker asks, are these AI models ITS-ISTM-SVM? So are you asking about support, what's called vector machine? What's a SVM? Like just the different type of modeling. So if you're asking a specific algo technique in quant, like an SVM, or LSTM, yes, yeah, I know what you're saying now. Yes, you can get specific answers and ask particular questions on those type of modeling, specifically with certain LLMs. As I said, the Chinese ones are very good at that. I think Claude is getting there. It probably already is, because a lot of the models have to include the math. Now, there's Grok, Gemini. What else is there? OpenAI, which is, let's say, the GPT codex, and the Claude. So will they have the math built in? They should. The problem is they make claims on all kinds of stuff if they're good or not. From my experience, the Chinese ones are, if I took a snapshot, chances are that some of the Chinese ones will be better at it. But every day there's going to be a new set of new LLMs coming out. As I said, the new Gemini 3 will be coming out. I think it's already out. I just haven't got access to it yet, but I'm sure that's going to be a one version that will probably put Google and Gemini front of the line for probably about 2 hours before the next one comes out. But Gemini 3 should be an interesting one. They're really catching up for sure. There's like between the US, there's Grok. I've tried Grok. It depends what you're trying to do. If it comes down to quant stuff and coding up quant related, the best one right now is still the Claude. No questions asked. And they've been like that for the last 6 months. And I think a lot of the other LLMs in the US are trying to keep up with it, but no. Just so people know, like Amazon brought out a model. What else? Who else? ByteDance brought out a model. I played with the Perplexity, no good. There's the Microsoft had one specifically to compete against OpenAI. That didn't go anywhere. The Copilot, it's not very good. That's why I think you're getting companies like Apple kind of getting desperate, and they're teaming up with Gemini. I believe Amazon is OpenAI, because the funny thing is all these companies that will still fund, like Amazon funded early days of Anthropic. Microsoft funded OpenAI, early days of that. And yet now these big LLMs like Anthropic and OpenAI now are competing against the companies that funded them. That one I'll never get. If you guys got questions or whatnot, let me know. I could do this another time. If you want to keep up, I'm going to try to figure a way to schedule these if you're not on my email list. Because right now, I think I can schedule it through YouTube. That's for sure. I think that can be done. There's a couple of options I have here, and I'm testing these streams. I'm looking at a piece of software that will enable me to stream on all the other platforms like the TikTok and the Meta, all that. But I did 2 of those last night, and I'm not getting the same engagement that I get with the YouTube app itself. So I may just stick with YouTube, the app, and just do it this format, just easier as well. Okay, another question. When running algo strategies in interactive brokers, did you have it running continuously and did you have to log in frequently? Oh, good old interactive brokers. The problem is, JDI, that's a good question. Interactive brokers is a great platform or broker to kind of like start with. You have 2 options when it comes to strategy development. You either have using the Trader Workstation, the TWS, or you can go through the gateway, or you can go through the Fix protocol. The Fix protocol is going to run you about $600 a month, from what I understand. I could be wrong. The gateway is preferable because it doesn't shut down at any time at midnight like TWS does. So with the TWS, that's the real pain with it. So if you've got a strategy running and up comes quarter to 12, I think it's local, it's going to reset the TWS. And then it could potentially knock you out with your connection with your program, whatever it's in Python, whatever language. That's a real pain in the ass to work with. You won't get that with the Rhythmic, obviously, but the volumes are not going to be there between the trading hours out of Chicago, between the 9 and, whatever the hours are for the CME. So you don't have that problem. But that is the problem with the TWS with interactive brokers, if that's the route you're going to go. So that's what you're going to have to face. But if you can work outside it, yeah, go for it. Works great. I've tried it, but the solution I went with for algo auto trade, this is now not algo trading, this is auto trading. If you're new and you don't have a strong trading background, what I would recommend is look at TradingView. Again, Black Friday, great discount right now. I think it's like 75, 80% with TradingView. And that will be a week before the Black Friday. It's the only time that you get that deep discount. Anyways, you work with a TradingView environment, and there's a really good service called Trader Post. Here's the problem is Trader Post, what they're cool with, if you come up with a solution in PineScript, like a strategy, or even using one of the ones provided through TradingView, you can have it synchronize and then have it automated through Trader Post through interactive brokers. But here lies the problem. If you look at traderpost.com and you look at all the connected brokers, the problem with interactive brokers is it's been in beta for probably 5 years. It's been in beta since last year. The guy basically, and I had it running and it worked fine, but then somewhere along the line, interactive brokers has convinced me they don't like third-party solutions, so they'll purposely break other third-party solutions that are trading on interactive brokers. So basically, Trader Post, this guy Cam said, not going to work, choose a different broker. So I chose a different service. Nothing to do with Trader Post. So be aware, that's the problem with interactive brokers. Just putting that out there. They're better brokers to auto trade with, I find, but again, it depends on your broker, where you want to trade, and so on. I've had very good success with MotoWave and some of the crypto like Coinbase and Kraken. Very stable, right, through MotoWave. You probably could say the same thing, again, with TradingView and Trader Post. That's another good example. If you're not a hardcore programmer or don't have the technical chops. hopefully I'll answer you for JDI. Moneymaker, IB Fix has a minimum of $1,500 in commission per month. Yeah, that's because they probably want to be as close to institutional. So you have to do probably 1,500 trades. I didn't know that. Thanks, Moneymaker, for letting me know. Yeah. You probably still kind of have to meet a requirement to be on the fixed connection with Interactive Brokers. So I didn't know that, but the fee itself is quite high. So with me, I don't have a quota on Rhythmic at all. Like I said, I'm paying 100 for the API and 40 and change for the market data. That's cheap, and that's pretty cheap option if you're going to trade in the world of futures and options. And I'm ready to go to start doing that. And as I said in one of the videos, that's my next big project, is to get the orders working and tested. So I've got the data working perfectly for future contracts. I'm still needing to figure out how much it's going to cost me for the options with the option chain, and that's where it gets very expensive. And that's why Data Bento is extremely expensive at a couple thousand. The option chain data for futures on options is very valuable, very expensive. So that's one of the reasons why Data Bento is the way they are. So I might have a surprise coming for the fees on the options. Dealing with the Edge Clear, I don't think they clearly understood what I wanted and what I needed. But I'm okay where I'm at because I have the futures right now working perfectly at 140 a month. So I'm okay with that. But I definitely do want to, at some point, trade with options and option chain. But as I said, that's going to be very expensive. And I think the account will see. The problem is when you're with only focusing on micros. I don't think I can do options. Not at 1,500. I don't think so. How do you mean JDI with a market orders? Let me just see here. When running algo and interactive, did you have it running continuously and have to log in frequency? I'm not sure what you mean, JDI. Sorry, I'm just trying to connect it with what you previously said. When it comes to market orders versus limit orders, if that's what you're asking, couple things on that. I think I should mention that. I like market orders because once you put an order in, boom, it's filled, right? With limit orders, you put a limit order and you got to wait till the fill. That's why I like market orders. Now, if you're like me doing one market order on one little item, I don't think it's a worry. But the AI told me where these HFT shops, spoofing, basically taking your order, they see it, and they mimic with it or kind of manipulate it by putting out all these fake orders to throw you off. How they do that, how they know what you're trading is with market orders. From what I understand, that's not going to happen with limit orders. So what I'm saying is you're better off to do the limit order if you're worried about any high-frequency trading shop or any of these so-called insiders manipulating your trades. And that could be said right across all the big brokers like Robinhood and stuff like that. I don't think, the one thing I will say about Interactive Brokers, you don't have to worry about that with Interactive Brokers because they control that whole ecosystem, because a lot of the brokers will sell their US stock market order flow to these big shops. Citadel's the big one. And then, that's why I think that new regulation's coming because of that, to protect these the small trader. I remember you been the idea of using multi-charts. What platform are you using with Edge Clear and Rhythmic API to trade futures? Okay, that's a big question. I've used Motorwave for a number of years. Very good platform. Actually, I'd say if you want something that you want running on Mac or Linux, Motorwave's the place to go. It's Java. So the software development kit or SDK is Java. That might be a challenge for most people. No problem for me. Now, multi-charts I played with years ago, and I just found it too buggy. I can say the same thing with Ninja as well. But if you don't want to play a platform fee, what I would recommend is look into AMP, because what they've got, they have the full edition of Quant Tower on AMP. So that's now C#, fine, no problem with that. But if you don't want to have to pay the license fee for the platform, AMP may be a good option. I do believe EdgeClear has the same thing, but it's a stripped down version of MotoWave. So you're not getting the full, I can't remember the level, ultimate edition of MotoWave with EdgeClear, with the version that they provide. See, what a lot of these brokers do, like say AMP EdgeClear, AMP will use a white labeled version of Quant Tower. So Quant Tower is the platform. You want to sign up for Quant Tower, you can go ahead and do that. But some of these brokers, some of these prop shops, what they'll do is they'll make arrangements and you get zero licensing fee with the platform if you sign up with the broker. So AMP is the best for that, for AMP, because you get the full edition. With EdgeClear, what they've done for their internal platform, I don't think you pay for it, but it's a stripped down version of MotoWave. So just be aware of that. Okay, to answer the question, what I'm doing with Rhythmic, I'm doing my own coding. That's why I'm using the Rhythmic API. So I'm using the async Rhythmic, as I mentioned before, the Python package, and I'm developing my own code around that. So if you see my latest videos with the Streamlit apps on the dashboard, that's working with the flat files generated by another script that will download all the market data. And then the next question is, how do I do it with the market data, or sorry, the market orders? Most likely it could be done with Python for now, because I'm a very low frequency trading right now. But as I hopefully get better ideas and better strategies and they prove themselves, really what it boils down to is having a consistent, profitable workflow, where it really boils down, especially in the world of AI, get a workflow that's profitable, consistently profitable, and then you move it up, as I said, to scale it up with going with something like a Rhythmic Diamond and scale from there. Also, get faster at generating code with AI, as long as it works. So that's what I'm doing right now with Python. I've tested it with C++, it's doable, but the problem is the C++ Rhythmic support is kind of scary. Moneymaker asks, I remember you said AMP customer service was bad, sticking with EdgeClear. Yes. If I was to tell people that are new to this, I think AMP claims to have good support. They may have good support when they want to have good support. But just as an example, what happened to me was when I was looking for the futures broker, I was originally wanting to go, I originally started with Interactive Brokers, and they just started getting on my nerves, like, oh, you got to get permission to trade futures. Oh, you don't have enough in your account to do this, and then it's going to cost you this and subscription fees. And it's like I was getting really tired of it. It's like dealing with your mom, like, hey mom, can I borrow the card tonight, kind of thing. So I got kind of tired of that. So I wanted to go to the next level of professionalism, and AMP came as the number one to go with. So I went with that, tried out the Quant Tower. I liked it, what I saw, and that wasn't the problem. So the next day when I called into AMP support, no one was answering the phone. I'm like, what is this? And there's questions. The one trick I've not talked about on video is when I was asking about the API support, I had to email one guy on an email, and email only for any API support through AMP. I'm like, what is this? And then I asked some questions, and it was like just this long drawn out process to get the questions answered. So that was another kind of, you think that'd be better. They'd have better tech support on the API front, and I just wasn't kind of like satisfied with that. So then I discovered EdgeClear when I was researching, and I'm like, I called them, I talked to people, said, hey, what do I need? boom, 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 within a few minutes. They were very personal, great support. They told me what I need to do. They gave me great advice from a newbie point of view, from a funding account. And I'm just repeating what I said, the 1,500 on the mini, 5,000 on, 1,500 on the micro, 5,000 on the mini, da-da-da. Just getting that sort of advice was the first time I was actually hearing it from, never got that answer from Interactive Brokers, never got that answer from AMP. So that broker convinced me this is the broker that I needed to go with. I talked a lot about the technical, and they seemed really good to go down that path, which I did. And I was happy. I mean, there were some glitches along the way, but I do like EdgeClear for that. Now, I just want to make sure people understand the process here. If you're going to go the edge, any broker outside of Interactive Brokers, because Interactive Brokers does their own thing and they're that big. But if you're going to go with an introducing broker, an IB, you have to go through EdgeClear, AMP, Optimus, or any of those brokers based upon how happy you are with the responses on the questions. As I said, I like EdgeClear. The next piece of it is you have to choose what your FCM will be, your futures, commissions, merchant. I'm not in the US, so this can be applied to anybody outside the US. So there's three options that they provide. You have Iron Beam, or you have Phillips Capital, and if you're in the States, you have Dorman. So if you're in the States, you could go with Dorman, only US only. So the one they recommended was to go with Phillip. So I went with Phillip, did my research. I looked at Iron Beam as well. They seem to be more expensive on the commissions and stuff. You don't pay for the data, but they get you on the commissions. So I thought, okay, I'll try out the EdgeClear / Phillip Capital. So those are the two pieces. So when you sign up for whatever broker, they're going to ask, who do you want for your data? You have two options. You either have CQG or Rhythmic. And then I started talking about the API and the needs. They came back and said, well, yeah, Rhythmic's probably the better one to go with. If you look at MotoWave and you're going to go futures and options trading, they will recommend you to go with Rhythmic. So when you start hearing the recommendations, Rhythmic, you go with them. And they've been pretty good. I've not really gotten any real bad complaints about them. So those are your only two options outside of Interactive Brokers if you're going to do this futures and options trading. It's just based on experience, but that's the path that I'm seeing that seems to work pretty good. Outside, I've already mentioned about Rhythmic as well. So I'm not here to promote Rhythmic. I'm nothing to do with them. But yeah, I'm just starting to realize that they're the better path, at least for me. It just depends on what you want. But in terms of the platform, I have no platform. I'm using Python and the API, as I've talked about on this whole session. I'm hoping that helps you out and just makes the decision easier for you if you want to trade futures and options. Anybody else got any questions or comments? Now, let me repeat here. I've been doing this for, I guess, 15 years next year. I don't know. But I've talked to some pretty big wigs. If you go onto my channel, you look up a guy named London Quant. He will tell you, or he told me, he was institutional. He was coming out of institutional knowledge and hedge fund. Just look him up. He was out of London, UK, and they got funded at £10 million. Within a year, I believe they got up to £100 million return. So he was pretty serious. So he was HFT as well, and he basically just focused on one asset. He was Forex, Euro USD through the what's it called? The big one in stocks. I think it's Eurex. So that was his option, and they did very well. So people I talk to, like on that level, have always said, you want to make money in the markets, go with options. All the time, every time. If you're going to trade stock and options, and this is before crypto, that's fine, but that's more for institutional, and you're getting your money professionally managed. Crypto came along, and Bitcoin went from the 17K to 60, 70,000K. That was basically an anomaly over a few months. Can you still make that kind of money in crypto? Kind of hard to say. So to do it predictably and consistently and sustainable, the best one, and it's regulated to it. And I'm not here to say I like regulation, but the way crypto's evolved, I'd rather have it regulated because you're starting to throw some big money at it. You want to be regulated in a way, protect your account, options and futures. and you can still trade crypto on the CME with Solana, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. That's on the CME. If you want me, I can go on about, I think I already mentioned it was the Coinbase derivative market, which you can trade through EdgeClear. So that's another option as well. That's a path I may go down, but it's a different type of path for the traditional non-crypto assets. Makes sense, hopefully. Who's got questions? I'm 2 hours, man. It's not a problem for me. Who's got questions? Blah, 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 blah. Anybody? Comments, as I said, I'll just do the usual. Let me put a survey out there, whoever's still around. Do you prefer this format versus the standard Zoom and blah, blah, blah format? Just let me know. Just give me a yes, and then I'll know. So, Moneymaker, short volatility strategy with options is not a bad way to go. I would say there's two things now you're going to look at. Thanks, Moneymaker. Couple of things we need to talk about that as well. Volatility is going to be extreme. We've had 2 down day, maybe 3 down day markets. We could be on a precipice for the crash that they talk about. 30%, 50%, I don't know. Will it recover? I don't know. Last week when I did my scans, thank you JDI and Moneymaker for the answers there. The scans that told me last week with what's shaping in the market right now, the place to go is, what do you think it is? Is VIX, which is volatility, and soybean and corn. Okay, so that's prime candidates for the futures market and options market to escape out of the crypto and equity and let's say gold and metal. Let's say gold and silver is still manipulated at any point. So to play it safe, there's 3. VIX, which is volatility, and you could trade that as an instrument on the futures and options. And look at what VIX did today. It's probably doing better than gold. So I think VIX, if there's a panic in the market for the next couple of weeks to months, VIX will be a good one to be in. And soybean and corn might be pretty good because it's harvest season right now. So there's that. So in terms of volatility, you want to, I do in my dashboard, you'll see the 2 factors that matter from a portfolio management side is drawdown and volatility. Depending upon your strategy, you may want to have volatility only if it's predictable and sustainable and consistently profitable. If not, you want to stay with a lower volatile instrument. So that's one thing. You may have to go on the hunt for anything that's not correlated to US dollar, US stock market. So what do you got out of that? You got either foreign markets, Japan, the Japanese market's doing well, UK's kind of doing okay, the Toronto Stock Exchange doing okay. So you have that, but they could all go down when the US markets go down. So the only other 2 areas you can go into is either currencies, treasury, or agriculture. And the only way to trade those is through the futures and options market. That's why I'm with it, because of that diversity. When things go, let's say the world just blew up, they'll still be trading those no matter what. And they probably will be profitable. So those are a few things you need to consider. So in essence, what I'm saying is you may need to look for the lowest volatile commodity, lowest volatile instruments out there. And the other thing you'll have to be on the lookout for is maybe non-US. Now, when you're on the CME, obviously you're going to be dependent upon the US. But the cool thing is you can trade other currencies, which are going up as the US dollar drops. So there's an opportunity there. And you also have the, as I said, the agricultural as well. So that's what I would say is to look out for. And then you have the usual gold and silver as well. So hopefully I'll answer that. Given enough information, I think these ML models can be quite handy when it comes to volatility forecasting. Yeah, you can. Obviously, if you're in the options chain, you have a couple of new dimensions that people really don't consider when it comes to options, specifically on the option chain. This is why a lot of the HFT shops trade in it, is you can calculate your implied volatility, which is your future volatility. And then also you can measure open interest, which is you have to focus on forward-looking data. So you have implied volatility, which is forward-looking, and you also have open interest as well, which is forward-looking. People don't think about that. You don't trade today, what's current, or what's in the past, okay? Especially when you have high volatile markets and you have moving forward, you only really got forward-looking data. So if you're stuck in the world of stocks, let's say, the only two forward-looking data indicators you have is guidance from other stock analysts, from banks and institutions, or you have guidance from the company itself. That's all you have. So how do you trade that when a lot of companies are not giving any more guidance, or it's very short term? You can't trade that. But whereas with options, in the futures and options space, you have all this data to work with. Plus you have the Greek analysis stuff as well. So if you were behind the paywall, on the programming front, you learn about gamma hedging and all these different HFT trading techniques that the AI is telling me that you can apply back into that quant high frequency trading mindset, applying to your own strategies that you can try to mimic as close to. And the AI can somehow, this is the machine learning, I guess, part, the AI can try to use as close, whatever proxies that are available to get you as close to that, to those data sets. So you're kind of like trading off of pure price, but there's some other calculations that you can use as a proxy to get you to some of these proprietary data sets that you can only get on the CME. So these are good options to know about, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. But yeah, there is machine learning, but one thing I can tell you when it comes to machine learning and just trading now, I think what will matter is how fast you respond with trading strategies and get them coded up as fast as you can. That's what's going to matter moving into the near future. Because what's going to matter is how fast you respond to what the market conditions are telling you. And it's just a matter of hours instead of days and weeks if you're hand coding. That's the advantage that this machine learning and this AI gives you. And then that's going to be the next set of edge that everybody's going to look for. So if you don't have the coding skills and knowing how to use AI, you're probably putting yourself at risk because the momentum that we're used to in, let's say, the S&P probably may not be there for quite a while. I mean, look at gold as well, the momentum. It just magically overnight dropped almost 10% a few weeks ago. And did that happen because of some odd thing? No, because it was, and I'm not going to say why because it's YouTube. I'll just say it just happened. Okay, it didn't happen because of demand or supply or blah blah blah. It was a setup of some kind, if you know what I mean. Okay, am I using 0MQ or Python to speed up your Python code? No, I wouldn't worry about that because all my code is, well, all my trading code is written in one Python script. So I keep it, the best way to keep it fast is keep it simple. Once you start adding in frameworks and blah, 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 all this message queuing stuff, you start to slow it down. It adds that latency that you don't want. So you want to strip it down as much as you can. And from what I've seen with Python, it just gobbledygooks your code and it just makes it more complicated. So you kind of want to make your code as simple as possible. In fact, going back to that high frequency trading, ultra low latency stuff, from what I've seen with the AI, what it's telling me, you could have one little piece of code, a 1,700 byte piece of code done in C that could be worth billions of dollars. But it's everything around it that speeds it up. So you could have a core piece of C code that is a filter with market data coming in and filters and uses a set of algos. And that's it. There's no dependencies whatsoever. And I think that's the way it seems to be, and how it's done. And the coding is very tiny. It's like minimalistic. And there's no dependencies whatsoever in these type of executable binary files. And then you have all the other stuff built around it. So you have the FPGA built around it and all your data feed. Because you got to remember, when it comes to trading, algo trading, it's two simple things. You either are going to be loading in historical data or you're going to stream data. And then you have a set of rules with how to work with that data. And then you're going to basically have your orders executed based upon those rules. That's it. That's the most primitive you can get. But once you start to build these monolithic applications that really slow down things and complicate the coding, you don't want to go down that path, especially if you want to go down call it ultra low latency path, because the simpler the better. And when it comes to FPGA, again, I'm no expert on this. You will build out your code or your proprietary code, Verilog, VHDL, whatever board you go with, and it's just basically a filter. And then you have the data feed that interacts with that code on the board, and then you have the set of trading rules built around that. I still don't. That's a big mystery box to me, but it's the same concept. You have this big massive filter you're feeding data into. No messaging, none of that stuff, and then it just has some basic simple rules and then spits it out. That's how it seems to be. And one thing I'll tell you about from the London Quant as well, what he did, this is decades before algo trading, machine learning and AI existed. What was done back then, they used genetic algorithms. So how that strategy was built, it was built using, I can't remember the name of the third-party software he was trying to mimic, but what it was you have the data and then you have a generic algorithm model will then use a technique to kind of forecast the direction on where that price will go. So he would have the microstructure, all the ticks coming in, and then he was able to, on the fly, generate a new algorithm to predict the market direction and then put pricing on that. And he got to a point where it worked 100%. So that's kind of how it worked, the primitive, and it was true low latency on the Eurex with the Euro US dollar. That's how it seemed to work. I think. Oh, I know so. But that was 10 years ago before machine learning and AI. As I said, now, from what I'm seeing, you can get some kind of AI built onto the boards. Again, I don't know how it works, but if this AMD thing pans out, I'd be curious to go down that route and check it out through the Vultr, as I said, vultr.com. Okay, any questions or comments or anything else? 2 hours. My voice is kind of going blah, blah, blah. Oh, I can't wait for the Vulture cloud service. That setup is what retail traders need. There's next to no chance of us getting our custom FPGA hardware in one of those data centers. You'd be surprised. I've had some hardware guys that watch my channel, and one said that they can build the board for like $2,000. So it's from what I've seen with the rigs that you could set up, the cost of the FPGA boards are not that exorbitant. Maybe you get a basic one and then get a more advanced one. So you could probably get a basic one for a couple $100, or maybe buy one used, and then just buy a more better one with better capabilities and processing capabilities and whatnot. Might run you a couple of grand. Like you might have a better connectivity into the network card and blah blah blah. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is the two components that go into these rigs that are important are FPGA board, and there was a specific model, I believe it was from Xilinx, and the other one was your NIC card, your NIC card. And then you could probably buy some used stuff to test on. And then when you got something that you think is pretty consistent, then you scale up and get your modern best technology and go with that. So from an entry point of view, I think it's very doable to buy used hardware and experiment to see how you build the board, the trading logic and the rules, and maybe you have to simulate market data and market ordering or execution, and then go from there. And I could probably for sure you can do that via AI. I've tested some of the LLMs where you can get it. Here's a model or a trading idea, a trading strategy is used for ultra low latency. You ask it to generate the FPGA code. Guess what? It can do it. It will generate it. Is it going to work? I don't know. But we're definitely at a point where we can generate that kind of code for sure. And it's very accessible if you want to start out with just entry level, couple $100, probably the server. You could probably do the whole thing for under $500, maybe even $1,500. Just got to do the research, and then when you're ready to go, then you spend the money. That's the best I can offer right now. So don't stop to think it cannot be done. I'm sure it can be. Anybody else got any questions or comments? As I said, we're here to serve. Anybody else? Anything? I'm hoping I answered all of the questions so far. I think I did. They weren't too fast and furious, which is good. Anybody else got any questions or comments? Alexia, love your videos. Thank you for coming out, my friend. Thank you, appreciate that. If you got any questions, let me know. I think you just came aboard. I'm not an expert here, just so you know. I do a lot of AI prompting with some good prompts and very good LLMs out there, both out of the US and China. But now I'm at a point where I'm going to throw a little bit of money, not much, $1,500, because there's the argument of people saying AI cannot generate profitable strategies. I'm going to put a test to that for sure. And if I can find methodologies, I'll definitely do it. The thing is, as I said, we got to focus on a workflow. That's what matters, not one particular strategy, because as the market conditions are radically going to change and the volatility is going to get more extreme, I think what's going to matter is how fast you respond to market conditions. And with unpredictable volatility setting in, it's going to be not a concern, but you're just going to have to be on top of it, because the day of buy and hold and everything's going to go up. I don't know. I can't say yes or no if that's going to be continuing because of national debt and governments getting more desperate, more controlling on people's money. And I just got, just as an example, as I said, I'm in Canada. I've got somebody who's collecting a pension. They were sent a major letter from the Canadian government on saying what you can and cannot do. Just as an example, where it's at, this is from the Canadian government. Yep, you need to declare all your income when you're overseas and you're living overseas. One of the other things are, not sure if they'll tax it, but they'll restrict it. If you're out of country, you will possibly lose your pension or a portion of it, even though if you paid into it. It's pretty crazy stuff. I might do something on that. Anyways, Moneymaker's got another question. Limit order book modeling requires specific type of modeling. Hawk's process, price impact, we'll have to see if these models are equipped to handle that. I've never heard of Hawk's process, but I do know and have seen like Kalman filter. I've known that since almost day one. So there's a lot of techniques out there that are unknown, but I'm going to let the AI decide that for me if I go the ultra low latency level and think out and allow the AI to generate that code for me, which I've done in C++. So that's possible, but I just let the AI decide what's best. I might show that with this new dashboard I'm hoping to build out. Alexei asks, where do I get the historical data? If you have missed a lot of this will be on YouTube, and watch the first set a couple of hours I talked about that. Basically, it's Rhythmic data through my futures IB introductory broker, EdgeClear, who hooked me up with Rhythmic. I can call back, depending upon the frequency, of up to a couple of months, 6 months. I know I could do weekly, monthly. I haven't seen how far back I can go historically, but right now I'm just focusing on minute data, and I can go back as far as 1 month. Not a lot, but something I haven't really experimented with, but I'm sure you could probably go back. No, actually, I should say I think there was a daily, I could go back at least a year. I'm not sure what the time frame might have been. Was it 4-hour data? I think it's possible with Rhythmic, but for sure you can get some good data. The other option is I have done with interactive brokers. You do have to get the permission for it. Depending upon the asset class, it's very easy with stock and Forex and crypto, very easy. But if it's future data, you can try to do some experimenting with interactive brokers. I've got some scripts I can provide for that could work as long as you have the permissioning on your account for that. Option chain data is a different story. That's the valuable stuff. If you really want that, as somebody mentioned, Data Bento is good for that, but it's very expensive. And you can also kind of maybe go through CME. Oh, another place I forgot to mention that might be good is IQFeed. They're really good. You can go back many years with IQFeed.net data, but it depends how you want to use it. If you're doing it through an API, like a regular programming language, I think they're going to want a license fee of, I think it's a couple $100 a year. Then you have to pay for the data. It depends upon what kind of data you want, what asset class. So that could be with whatever. You could pay a couple $100 a month for that. That might be your best option. They do support C#, C++, Python. I think that's what you probably end up needing. IQFeed.net's a good one to look into. And they pretty well can get any market data anywhere. They're really good with Forex data as well. I'm getting a low battery warning. Let's see, hopefully this will work. Yes, good. Okay, we're charging. So I could still continue. So hopefully that'll answer that question on the historical data. The thing you have to understand is when you're working with data, I think data is the most important part of this. You have to, if you don't go with financial data from Yahoo, any of this free stuff, because it's going to be distorted data. You want clean data that shows no gaps at all. So IQFeed is very good, very clean. You cannot go chintzy on the data. It's going to distort your back testing. And the other thing, with AI now, some people may argue this, but whatever. I can tell you that with Claude 4 Plus, it's so sophisticated, it can do your back testing for you. And if you see this new thing I'm working on, it can even do the walk forward analysis for you. And I'm only doing, as I said, the 4 weeks of minute data. So we'll see if the forecasted models that come out of it actually work and are profitable consistently. I'm going to know in the next couple of weeks as I put live money on that. Oh, yes. Hello, M. Wezzy. Brian, can you make C++ and C trading course on and add that to generate interfaces? Everyone says hi. Hi, everybody. C++ courses and any course, I'm going to be honest with you, is a lot of time to do. Because everywhere you can get through Udemy, all those kind of places, you can get courses like for what, $10, $20. So for me to put the effort into it, it's not really worthwhile. And not only that, but with the AI, I don't think you even need to read books anymore. Just ask AI what you want and off you go. Or if you have a piece of code, you provide it, you can get the AI to break down the code for you that you can reverse engineer and learn from. That's another way I'd recommend that. I love your work. I'm happy I found you on live. Thank you. I'm hoping to do this more often. People have convinced me to do this, so here I am. I'm just going to work out a consistent schedule and do what I'm doing the full open Q&A. Yeah, so that is the best answer I give you on the C++ course because it's a lot of time as well. Moneymaker, will the project you are working on be available behind the paywall? Not this one, no. It's too valuable. Basically, what I'm hoping to do, it's going to cost me probably a couple $100 to develop. But what it basically is, I put up a video. I'm not sure if anybody's seen it, but it's one of my most recent ones in the last week. And what it does is I have a script that will download data from Rhythmic, about 20 to 30 workable future instruments. From there, I have, and this is all done through pretty well Claude, we'll just say 4x, whatever it is, 4.1, 4.5. And what it does in a nutshell, it's a Streamlit Python app. And I just say, hey, show me backtesting data, show me all the portfolio metrics, and give me a walk forward analysis. And boom, there it is. It ranks it. You can see it, and I'll probably put up another long form video on it. It'll blow people's mind. But what I've done now tonight, before I came on here at 7 p.m. my time, I got it working where I said, hey, we now have the ranking of the best forecasted future instruments. I want you now to take that and put it into a PDF report, use this local Olama home-based, or in this case, cloud-based model, and tell me why. What's driving this forecast on this instrument, be it if it's Dow Jones or whatever instrument it is. So I have now a generic answer on what's driving the profit. So it's going to give me, well, it's based upon this technical this and quant that. I haven't really gone through it yet. And then what I'm going to do from there with a specific model and say, hey, Mr. AI, and this is all in the one programming script, and say and ask it, hey, tell me which out of this instrument based upon this report you just gave me for, let's say it's, I don't know, oil. Tell me why this is going to go up. Oh, here's all the metrics it's going to give, and only Claude will do this in Python. Then I'm going to have it say, okay, from there, what are the techniques that these HFT shops use to trade this? And it'll come back and give me a bunch of instruments or strategy types. Then this is the tricky part. People don't know which can be done. You can take those strategy and turn that actually into code. That's the mind-blowing thing. And then you say, okay, out of all those specific strategies, can you give me one that will be appropriate for this data set and this projection? And then from there, it will give you the actual piece of code so you can run with it and it could be done in either Python or C++. So we'll see. That's the goal I'm going to do next. But unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to put that out there for anybody because it's going to be so valuable. But I think way it's going, it can be done. So Mwezi, I have something similar to. Oh, and I have something similar to uh, where you take a quantum arbitrage using regression. Can you elaborate to create a financial technology focusing on African stocks and currencies? Streamlit is outstanding. Yeah, I agree. Streamlit's very advanced. It's true. It's actually owned now by Snowflake. So if you have what you have as code, just push a button that says deploy, and off it goes and gets hosted on Snowflake. It's awesome. Anyways, that's the best web front end I've seen. Can I go into look? If you're going to do quantum strategy, you could kind of do that. You could use regression, but you can ask AI now saying, what are the techniques that HFT shops use? Go with what's suggested, and you can actually take that description and turn it into code. That's what I've been doing lately. Just depends upon the LLM that you want. Again, to get the best results, you're going to have to pay for it. There's no questions about that. So regression could be one of them. It could be many of them. And then if you want to learn this stuff, you can actually, as I said, when you take the text you get from the description of the strategies, and then you could just feed it in and say, give me C++, then you can reverse engineer all that code from that. So that's an option there. Regression is not your only option, Mwezi. So yeah, can you save for a better laptop? I'm at that point now where I'm deciding, do I need a new laptop? It's about 3 years old. I'm going, I don't think so now because everything's cloud-based. If you're going to keep everything local, yeah, you need a new laptop, but you don't need to do that now because everything's all cloud-based. Like as an example, as of tonight, I'm looking at olama.com, and I could download the model itself with the 1 gig, 5 gig, whatever it is, or I could just say, no, screw it. Use the cloud. And again, it's all open source. So that's the path I'm planning to go with. Just so I don't need to kill myself on trying to keep up to date with the latest and greatest in hardware. Gets very expensive. Alex, I asked, have you an experience using Grok for recommendation of stocks? And it kind of does a good job. I think you're on the right direction. To use AI for stock picking, I think it's kind of dangerous, to be honest, because you're not sure if it's real data, and then being able to take that data and compare it against, let's say, other stocks, that might be dangerous. I could say the same thing about anything if it's crypto, forex. I wouldn't do it. I would say get a data source for the real data, and then instead of doing it that way, if you know the coding, or you could kind of just say, hey, here's the data that I'm interested in for all these different stocks or whatever, different time periods and whatnot. Feed that into the AI and just say, backtest the best looking files. If it's a CSV, comma separated value with all the data, and just ask it, plain and simple, give me a backtest. And it'll give you all the metrics. And then at the same time, or the subsequent prompt would be, hey, what's your walk forward analysis on this data set? And boom, that's the right way to do it, I think, because it's true data. But just doing it, I don't want to say lazily, but just to kind of allow the AI to say, give me the best. You have to work with the data, because if you get real market data, you're going to get much better predictability with the AI. Whereas if you're just kind of doing it subjectively, it's kind of dangerous, and especially if you're going to put live money on it. Don't come to me if you lose money, but you have a much higher probability if you use real market data and just do what I just suggested. Do a back test, put that in the prompt, let it do the back test, and then come back and say, give me a walk forward analysis. That would probably be your best bet. Because as I said, to subjectively ask AI for something without real market data, your predictability is going to be kind of unpredictable. But if you want, the secret to AI is if you have access to real data, attach it, and ask what you want based upon real market data or any data, whatever app you're trying to get out of AI. Because it's like I've done that using simulated data. It's wild. And then you run the same prompt, you can get a different result. So always has to be consistent, same data, always. Sorry, Alexa, if I messed you. I was asking, give a list of stocks and explanation why would buy stock on short term and just buy this stock so that now for the portfolio stays option. Again, it comes back to the same thing where I don't think you can just plainly um, provide a data, like just ask it generically, like what are the best stocks. I don't think the result will be what you want. Um, you want to provide a set of data if it's daily, 4 hour, and going as far back as you can to do that. Now, it could work in a consistent momentum trend that we've had for a number of years. The thing is, as I said, we're going to be moving into unpredictable volatility, and I think that's going to throw off this type of ability to ask AI for what's going to move or not because the markets are so unpredictable. So I think it's going to be hard to do. Yeah, so hopefully I'll help you out though, Alexa. It could have worked for the last probably 5 or 10 years, but if we do move into this unpredictable environment where we don't have consistent uh, positive momentum like we've had for numerous years, because you always hear buy the dip, or it'll come back, it'll recover. It may not. As I said before, what we're going into will not be a granddaddy's recession at all. At all. I just don't think it's possible. What I do think, if you provide the data, um, real data, then yeah, you get some predictability. So hopefully I'll help you out on that. Yeah, I just wish I could give you a better answer. And it doesn't matter what LLM you use, if it's Grok or whatnot. So M. Wednesday, would you like to build a team of varying developers from different party of the world to help you structure data using programming language, OCaml, Rust, C, and Python? I have certificates of these. You know, I had somebody a week ago I was doing a booking with, and he thought all the analysis I'm putting out was done by a bunch of hedge fund people. No, it was just done by AI. So to specifically answer your question, I don't like to say this, but in the AI world, having all these developers and whatnot, I hate saying it, but AI could do it all. So the certification and all that, it's just the world we're moving into and have had for the last year. It's hard to get value from that. I'm not saying that as a discouragement. I'm just saying the reality for me being, I'm not some dude living the Rolls Royce and Monaco lifestyle. If I could afford it, I'd gladly hire people. But when you're like myself, it's kind of hard. But um, programming's an important skill to have. If you're learning programming, continue it because to understand the concepts of the architecting of software is going to be critical in AI. Like all these services you have, like Replicate and whatnot. Oh well, we're going to have develop an app that does this and that. Yeah, it's all fine when it all breaks down and you get your bugs and stuff. I don't know that people that don't have the non-technical can do it, but the technical people for sure. And from what I know, I asked Predrag, who just was, I don't know if he's still here, but I asked him, he said 80% of his work is done by AI now. So that's, again, the world we live in. So um, I don't, I'd love to hire people and get paid or have a pilot people. I am trying to build out that community behind a paywall because you don't want to have your trading opportunities and what you trade get eventually crowded out because everybody will eventually take away that edge, and that's what these HFT shops fear. So that's why I do it behind a paywall. Thank you, Project, for being around. This guy's awesome. He's like a brother to me, Predrag. He's an incredible resource to have. I've had for many years now. What are your thoughts on Optuna's open source Python library for hyperparameter tuning? I've never heard of Optuna. I don't keep up to date with all this stuff. It's too crazy trying to keep up with all these frameworks and libraries. Like I said, I mean, Olama. It's been out for how long? A year, 2 years? I'm just starting to move into it now. That's how bad I am. Sorry. I bet losing your edge is frustrating. No, there is no edge being lost here. But you do have to think about that because if you have 10 people knowing the edge, that's fine. But it depends upon how much capital you're going to throw at it and the volume of whatever you're trading with that edge. Because if it's very small, you have to be very careful who knows about it and the fewer people to maintain the edge. So that's something you have to obviously factor in. But if it's something on like S&P in the futures, like an ES, it's not so bad because you have everybody trading it. Oh, what's an edge? For you, Alexi, trading edge is like uh, even discretionary traders like humans have always an edge. It's like they have something that they know they don't tell people about, like that they know something about in the markets that they don't tell people about, and that's what they trade because they know that that's kind of predictable, and that can maybe be so predictable that it's giving them consistent profit. So that's something that a lot of people don't know about, and that becomes your basically your trading edge. So there's edge. You can get trading edges everywhere, but automated trading it's different because if it's out there on the internet, then it's really not an edge. But there is trading edge generally. But the thing is, as one example, um, you have I don't like the word, well, there's the smart money and the not smart money. The smart money, the insiders know an opportunity, trading edge, and then what will happen is the trading edge is an opportunity to be a forex, a stock, and over time people catch on to that opportunity, which is the edge. The insiders of smart money will use that as liquidity to get out of that opportunity. And then what will happen is it's like penny stocks, right? Like if you have penny stock brokers that are promoting and pushing an up and coming penny stock, their trading edge is basically that, pumping out, oh, the stock's going to move, and you got dozens of them, and it's eventually going to pop because everyone's going to pile in on it. That becomes their edge. And then as the stock moves up, all the insiders that already had their money put into that position, they're going to exit. As more people get out, what will happen is the stock will go up and then boom, it collapses because eventually there's no more liquidity because the promoters got out. That's Tim Sykes' uh, edge, we'll call it. But it's well known. Just got to know which stock they're going to pump. 50-50 no edge, 60-40 win versus loss is edge. Yes, but if you want to get very specific moneymaker, you can use the AI. If you watch my videos, it will, one of the parameters on the walk forward, it will actually give you win-loss ratio. I'm still trying to verify if that's correct or not. Obviously, anything over 60% is edge. And there are some trading opportunities out there. So as an example, let's say you have, I don't know, 30 different future contracts to pick. And then you have all the data, all the real world data, you feed it into an AI like Claude, do the back test, and then you have another walk for analysis, and it does all the ranking for you on what it thinks will move in the future based upon the historical data, because there's that momentum. So there's going to be, I think, 5 factors that it will measure. It will use pass Sharp, Sortino. It will also factor in what they call a composite score, some kind of momentum behind that, projected momentum. It will also use win-loss ratio, or your winning ratio of trades that are profitable. The other thing that it will be is oh, what's the other one? Your profit factor. So if you go on to TradingView and look at all the TradingView strategies, you'll see profit factors. So if the profit factor is over 2, that's a good strategy. So those are the different metrics that you can use as a projection, and even the AI that I'm using with Claude gives you that. And then you can also compare that on the historical, trying to find the volatile lower volatile instruments, and at the same time, those same instruments that gives you minimal drawdown. So that's the combination you want. The highest profit factor, highest win ratio, the highest Sharpe ratio, combined with the lower volatility and lower drawdown. That's from a portfolio point of view. Are financial markets affected by fraud claims? Would it make sense to create fraud detection software that uses web scraping and continuous price movement to detect a better win-loss ratio? Aha. So if you kind of watch the secret sauce stuff, HFT strategies that I put out over the last couple of weeks, maybe month or so, a lot of people won't believe any of those strategies. They won't believe it. But if you have a leap of faith, and saying, okay, I will be open-minded on what it's telling me, it actually will tell you a lot of the fraud that goes on with the HFT shop. So for instance, there could be spoofing. There could be, it's a way of saying, like what happens on Robinhood. You watch, let's say, I don't know, as a simple example, NVIDIA, right, as a stock. All of a sudden, there's these 1,000 orders that come in and that the HFT shops are putting out, and you go, cool, there's going to be a movement because everything's, all the quotes coming in that NVIDIA is going to move up. And then what happens is those HFT shops will then all of a sudden cancel all those orders, and now you've been caught in this fake bull trap on that stock. That's fraud. I mean, it's not outright illegal yet. It will be, but you get caught up in that. And can you detect that? No. It's hard because we don't know what HFT shops are going to do. The only way to prevent that is circumventing it via knowing what to look for. And the only way to know that is being in the CME market where you get access to the dark pools, to seeing what trading activity there is in something like dark pools. There's other data sets you can look at, but again, that's part of these secret sauce strategies that nobody knows about. And then there's things like toxicity on a particular stock. The higher the toxicity, the better the stock is. But nobody knows about toxicity. And why? Only the HFT shops know about it because they have the data sets and access to all those data sets that provide all these measurements of things like this thing called toxicity. Sounds bad, but it's actually, the higher the toxicity, the better it is. So it's hard to gauge unless you're on the inside with the correct data and know what to look for. But you can't avoid it, and you just gotta know what to look for and be able to kind of circumvent it when it happens. Just so you know. Let's see here. So web scraping, sadly, it doesn't help. And on the ML side, look for F1 score, RMSE, R2, and metrics like that to see if you have something worth putting into. Yes, you can, but with all the spoofing and stuff, depending upon the level or time frame you're watching, it's hard to predict because those are historical data points. To really gauge it, you can use that from a backtesting historical standpoint, but what you want to use is the forward-looking data, as much forward-looking data as possible. Again, that's why I've said the most valuable out of all of it is implied volatility, which comes from option chain and all the Greek analysis that you can get out of the option chain data. That's the best way to verify that. Yeah, VPIN is another one that I've seen. And Wazzy asks, I've never thought of it in that context. Yeah, first time I'm hearing about toxicity. I've only started learning it when I started finding these LLMs that are taught that reveal it, and I just hammered on it. And it exists. It's what they use, um, and they do it on a split second level. Like everyone goes on about millisecond, microsecond. These shops are now operating on nanosecond, right? For us, retail, we can't operate on nanosecond because we don't have access into the data centers of something like the CME. Um, and then at the same time, we're going to be going through that uh, technical like nuclear warfare against all these other shops. And it's not just money, but it's the technical know-how and the data that you have access to that you're willing to pay for. And knowing all the other metrics. Some of these metrics can be like illegal things. Like, for instance, how do people know that gold is moving? Here's some of the data points. People don't know this. They will watch, they'll get an insider who has access to the vaults and be able to see how many people are using the security system, we call it pass control, to get into the vaults. The more they see that, that's a signal. Another signal they'll use is something like this sounds bizarre, but this is how ingenious they are. When they're mining gold, um, people think this is so far-fetched, but it's not. But when you think about it, you go, oh, that makes sense. So gold mining, and they have the mines, and they use satellite imagery to watch for smoke coming out of these mining operations. So when there's more smoke, that means they're mining. So there's satellite imagery used for that. That's a signal that there's now anticipating a gold rise. They watch all the traffic from the vaults, all the security companies, be it if it's G4S or Brinks in London, they monitor that traffic into the vaults. They can also monitor where those trucks go at the airport, and they know where those planes are going to land, at what gate, at what airport, if it's in Newark, and if it's going to be transferred to New York. These firms are watching this kind of stuff. That's just on gold. It's mind blowing. What other things they look for? Uh, for instance, if it's a Fed call, like for interest, you know what they do? People never think of this. They will watch the number of cars being parked in the parking lots the night before because there's going to be team meetings with the Federal Reserve on what will be announced. So they monitor the number of cars parked in the Federal Reserve parking lots. These ingenious things that we retail never think of, but these are the sort of things they look for as signaling. It's wild. Where do I live? Min Tan Hitu. Sorry about the Toronto, Canada. I'm hoping to extract myself from the problems of Canada. It's like pizza orders around Pentagon. Yes, we know about that, but we won't go there because then I'll be banned for life on YouTube. It's that extreme, but that's where we're at with this stuff because some of it's outright illegal, where they actually bribe staff in vaults, as an example, to set this stuff up. It's absolutely wild. ADS, alternative data as service, are available too expensive for retail. That's kind of like leading to where I'm leading to, Moneymaker. Exactly. These are data services that the firms know about or only specific through introductory means, if you know what I mean. I have been interested in trading for a few years, but my country is not safe for that. Yeah, out of curiosity, where are you from, Min? Min 10? That sounds Vietnamese? I don't know. That sounds Vietnamese. Probably deadly wrong, but not here to offend anybody, but it can happen. Anyway, so yeah, there's these weird signals that a lot of these firms have access to that you would never think of. Oh, another one. You know what? Another one they use to know if trading's happening or not. Get this. They actually monitor the they have some form of heating around the data warehouse in Aurora. Because what happens is if the servers start to get more active and get more intense from activity from the trading, they use that as a signal as well. Can you believe it? Heating of the servers and smoke coming out of the data warehouses as well. It's wild. Some of the ingenious techniques that they use to measure things. Brings me back to, if you want to know, it is very logical, but again, it's these Chinese AI things that you go, this is like James Bond level stuff. Min says, I want to move to Canada. Can you show me the way of moving to Canada? Don't come to Canada, dude. If you want to pay tax, I don't know where you are. Maybe you don't want to say, but right now we're heavily taxed. A lot of people are actually moving. A lot of people coming in from places where they're, we'll just say less economic opportunities. Yeah, Canada be like a paradise. But I would probably recommend go to other places where there's lower tax. If you're in Asia, Singapore, Malaysia's looking good. I'm gonna check out these places. Um, uh, Thailand maybe, but I'm poor. We're all poor. I don't know what you define as poor, but it, I don't know where you're at. But if let's say you're in Asia or Africa, sorry, again, not meaning to offend, but just as examples, I'd probably look into going in a place like Thailand or Malaysia. It's much more affordable and much more advanced. All you need really is a really good internet connection, and you're good to go, I think. Yeah. Uh, so, Ms. Websy, sorry about that. I'm in Zambia and I just wanted to raise money for a faster laptop. Sounds pretty basic. Um, so Min's from Asia. Uh, Willing to create websites with my React coursework knowledge. Yo, man, this is the power of coding. That's what I love about it. It gives you opportunity. Um, and yeah, I'm all for it. That's all I could say. Do it. Yeah, do it. It's just everything comes down to work ethic and how much energy level you want. I think with AI, there's really no excuse from preventing you from improving your situation. For me, I've been coding since I've been 14. I'm 57, so that's how long I've been in the game. But with all that blah 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 experience, I could sit here and say we are now at a time with AI that we have opportunities, and AI levels the playing field for everybody globally, no matter what your situation is. Is just knowing two things: how to improve your prompting to get the better results that you need from whatever you need with AI coding. As an example, the internet we all have, I hope, and the work ethic. That's all you really need, and you can really change your life. And that's one of the things I like about this stuff is the algo trading. And I'm going to sit here, and one day I hope Ernie Chan hears this from me. He's the guy who started me on my journey back, you know, 14 years ago. I think it'll be soon 15 years I've been at it. Without him and putting out the book, How to Start an Algo Trading Business, I wouldn't be here today. And then there's guys like you, lots and everybody, female, male, don't matter. I wouldn't be here without people, and I love doing this. Yeah, obviously we want to make money at it, but it can change your life. But now, in the last year with this AI stuff, don't stop to think that you should be limited. AI is transforming everything, and it just enables you. It just levels the playing field for everybody that has access to it. I'm not here to make this a motivational thing, but I do firmly believe um, you want to go where the opportunity exists. And right now it's internet and AI for sure. Uh, Alexa asks, what book would you recommend to expand algorithmic trading? If you're starting from zero knowledge of programming, I'd probably look at Ernie Chan. I think his is the most logical. That's why he's the most popular out there. The first one, how to build a trading business, that's the one, not just for trading, but can kind of change your life in a way as well. So I would definitely look into it. In Africa, it's hard to do algo trading for anyone. I have like 78 course related to programming, and I'm still working on an unpaid internship seasonal job. AI is really taking job. Yes, yes. Again, this is a mindset thing. Yes, AI is going to take jobs. It's like this. I like using this as an example. If we all are used to back in the early 1900s, 1800s, 1700s, 1600s, if we're used to being what I call horse and buggy people, we just have horse and buggy and that's how we get around. Along comes Henry Ford and he brings out this thing called a combustible engine and this other thing called a Model T. Okay. And that's like going to change how we do transportation. You can be stuck in the horse and buggy world forever and you'll get left behind. But if you change your mindset and go into the Model T world, and we're in the same transformation with AI, if you try to de-weed your head out of that and say, I can't get a job, and say, no, I'm going to use AI to give me the opportunities to code, to algo trade, to automate my trading, and then use that. You could start with $100, $1,000. I mean, look at Binance and crypto. You could start with $50 US, even $5. But the point here is with that, what you want to do is you want to start small, and it could be $10, you make $20. You could start with $1,000 and make $10,000. But the whole thing, boiling it right down, is the mindset and stay on the path of looking at it as an opportunity where for free that you have is your mind, having the work ethic, and the AI will help you get from point A to point B. And that's all available to everybody on the planet if you're willing to apply all these skills for you. And it's just a mindset thing to be able to transform yourself into that because the AI, yeah, is taking jobs. But I've said this in another short. I said, I do think people are going to have to put on their entrepreneurial hat to survive and not depend upon this. I'm going to have a job, but yet there's probably going to be no jobs because of AI. I think we're going to have to change all that and just work on uh, the entrepreneurial route and building up our own opportunities with things like AI, being an influencer. I don't know, but I think the more valuable one's the coding. Nobody could take away your coding skills. You can do lots of things with coding and build things with it. And when it comes to trading, combine that. Like the world is your oyster, quite literally. And as long as you get the high quality AI that you need, even with the Chinese ones, they're available at 1/10 of what the US in terms of cost and efficiency. So you can get some very powerful Chinese LLMs to accomplish a lot, a lot. And if you're willing to learn that, the coding, I'd say jump all over that. That's an opportunity of a lifetime. Rant done. Who's got almost 3 hours, man? This is exciting. So, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty transparent. I've been coding for 40 plus years. I started with a VIC 20 in 1990, actually 1983 was the first kind of computer I got with the Commodore VIC 20. And I'm proud to say Commodore is from Toronto. That's where I'm at, in Toronto, Canada. But I really started with that got me into tech was in television. Maybe some of you might know Atari Pong. That started the whole thing with the Pong. Boom, boom, boom. That was, I think, in 76. And then 78, Intellivision came out, which was from Mattel. And I got hooked on that with the video game. That's how I got interested in video gaming. Did that for, I don't know, 5 years. And at that time, I was only like not even 10. I started programming at 14 with the VIC-20 with the basic A, I believe, with the cassette. Those were exciting times. I remember we only had 3.5K on board the RAM. Not 3.5K, that was it. 3,500 bytes. And being able to double it, that was exciting. And we only had a cassette. That's all we had. And then the Commodore 64 came out and kind of changed quite a bit. But I started the VIC-20. But I've always liked technology. But that's where I come from. But AI, it's changing everything for the good, bad and good. But focus on the good for the motivating thing, what it can provide you. Hopefully that'll help you out. I hope. I've been doing from a third world country in my last semester as a CS student. There are not much opportunities for traders like me in my country. What do I need to do to get an internship of you at yours? I don't do internships. I don't need to do internships. But as I said earlier, you just follow. If you get a book like Ernie Chan, you could start with that. Udemy courses, just do basic algo trading. There's tons like Quant Start. There's Quant Start. That's good. That's free. Lots of websites out there. Yeah, Quant Start might be a good one. I mean, just to learn the basics with Python, how to do basic algo trading. And then from there, evolve and then use the AI to reverse engineer things and prompt. And the key is know how to prompt. And when you prompt it the right way, you get better, predictable results with the output that you want out of the AI. And the thing is, I said to Alexei, with you want to provide real market data. Don't let it speculate. The name of the author for Alexei, that is Dr. Ernie, ERNIE Chan, CHAN, Dr. Ernie Chan. Yes, prompt engineering is a must for pretty well your future entirely, I hate to say, because prompting is like learning how to drive, learning how to feed yourself. It's just a basic skill. Yeah, so hopefully you got that out, Alexei, for Ernie Chan. He's a good one to go with. Yeah, I think he pretty well was the first guy to come out with this algo trading concept. I mean, there's people before, but he was the first one who made it kind of and accessible and in the mainstream. I mean, people will rank him as probably the most popular quant guy out there. Yeah, so Moneymakers says Ernie has some good stuff on YouTube as well. Yeah, just look for his name, Dr. Ernest Chan or Ernie Chan. You'll see all his interviews. He's very good. Quantitative Trading, How to Build Your Own Algorithmic Trading Business, second edition. That's it. You got it. Yeah, I'd start with that book and just, it's a journey, man. And look at it as like learning how to crawl. And then he goes through all the basics, and then you can evolve with his other books. And obviously, that'll open up a whole nice can of worms and let the addiction take over. So, yeah, that's probably what I'd recommend, because yeah, that's how I started, and then I evolved, and I was lucky to have him not close to, but I was able to. He was very accessible with me, and I used to actually go meet him and have a lunch with him in Niagara, and he's so accessible. This guy's like, I don't know now where he's at. He runs a hedge fund now. I can't remember the name of it, QTS, and he's taken over one or two other hedge funds that he's grown. So he's got that. He's got an AI firm called, what's it called? Predict Now. So he's got that. And that is getting is coming up and about with his view. Yeah, QTS management. Yeah, QTS capital management. That's correct. That's his hedge fund, and then he's also got the Predict Now as well as the AI firm. Please release a C++ for trading currencies and crypto, please. I read your first. It was awesome. Thanks. Yeah, that was a simple book on the infrastructure of C++, what HFT shops. That I mean, like I said, these are big time, a lot of work to put out there. And I'm glad you like it. Thanks for that. Thanks for reading, and whoever else does. I would probably, yeah, it's a lot of work to do something. The thing I've done in the last year is created a futures and options course that goes very deep. It's drip fed. It takes about almost over a month. There is code included in that. I'm adding now the Rhythmic code to it. That's another option as well if you want to follow the new path I'm going. Yeah, I just read. Yeah, that's right. Hamlet, Jesse Medina Ruiz, and Ernie Chan on a new AI book. He just put out a book a few months ago on AI. The code for MWESI, it's all Python. Um, but if you're gonna follow that, you kind of got to know Python because it's a large assumption in your experience in Python. I want to follow the how much will the course be? The course, I believe, yeah, I think it's available through the trial. You could sign up on my website at quantlabsnet.com, and then you at the top there you'll see try. It's a free 7-day trial, so you'll be able to get a sampling of how that course works. There's three ways to look at it. You can get the full-on course over 7 days, or there's just videos, one or the other. But it's the same material. Yeah, everyone knows Python. That's correct, Mwezi. Like that's where most people start. I remember all the kids at 5 were the first language that's most productive is Python. Another thing is people go harping on about Python not being fast. C++, Rust is faster when it's developed and execution, yes. Generally, if it's properly coded and optimized properly, yes. But the speed of Python is the speed of development, not the speed of the execution. So if you have a trading idea or just any idea, and now with AI, you can pretty well start from zero and have an app running very quickly with Python. That's the beauty of it. That's the speed of Python because of the speed of development, not the speed of execution. And with AI now, you can kind of convert from one language to another. I don't know how close it is, but as it's getting more advanced, I'm sure it's getting more and more closer from one conversion to another. But you may have to optimize that as well. But generally, it's getting a much easier because of AI for sure, for sure. You guys got any questions? It's almost 3 hours, man. Just so you know, the longest I've done was 6 hours. But you guys got any other further questions? My voice is dying out. I'll probably give it a wrap. When we do that, I'll do another one. Just if you're watching or you're on right now and you want to know uh my next stream, I haven't got a schedule yet, but I'm gonna do these regularly. If you want, you can get onto my email list at quantlabs.net, quantlabsnet.com, and you just either on the front page or just go under Learn. You get that ebook that has been mentioned, and you can keep up to date when I do these. Do you want to share APIs for all the edge stories you talked about? Yeah, I mean that's my edge. That's how I earn a living, my man. I'd love to be able to do this for free, but we all got to eat, and so I obviously have a paywall there, and that's how I earn my keep with a membership that people pay to access. Um, you can also run Python with on ONNX conversion to speed things up. You can again, it's hard what you speeding up. Speeding up can mean anything. ONNX conversion, I think I've heard of. Bloomberg Terminal has everything I can't afford. We can't afford. That's why OpenBB was started, the open source. But well, look at them now. They want $300 a month for it. Subscribe for new announcements. Thanks, Alexei. Yeah, that's the thing I'd recommend. Just get on my email list. Some people say I spam. Probably I do. If you don't like it, you can always cancel. I'm gonna see if I can find ways to do the announcements through YouTube. I think there is via Shorts, but I put out so much stuff now. It's like I think it overwhelms people. So I might have to. I don't know. Yeah, I might have to slow it down. We'll see what happens. Thanks for the likes. Anybody else got any questions, comments? Who started since a stream? Give me a yes. How can I build trust? How do you mean you build trust, Mwezi? Uh, People trust you, but you have to realize this is YouTube, right? Oh, with me, uh, I have no trust issues with anybody. Um, I don't know what that means. Oh, it's not about working with me, Mwezi. It's what I'm trying to do is basically I'm trying to build a community, but unfortunately I have to put a paywall behind it, right? I have to qualify people sometimes. Uh, it's an advanced membership as a community. Uh, it's nothing to do with trusting you or vice versa. It's about collaborating behind a paywall so people know uh, what we're doing privately to build out stuff because we don't want the world to know about this stuff. It's not to be exclusionary. It's just the way the world works. I mean, when you go to a job, you're expected to get paid, right? Same thing, but it's just in reverse. I can't do stuff for free. I mean, I got over 4,000 videos. I've been doing a YouTube channel for what, almost 14, 15 years. So I've put out lots of content and 3 hours of my time tonight alone. So yeah, it's nothing to worry about that. Yeah, they shouldn't, power should never be in the wrong hands. Power is always in the wrong hands. There's nothing we can do about it. All we can do is try to circumvent it and make the best opportunities we have because of it. When it comes to trading and the capitals, just the whole 9 yards, there's always a secretive stuff we don't know, and it negative impacts us. That's nothing we can do about it. But good old AI can reveal some stuff. True or not, I don't know, but it's good to question it, I guess, and see what the potential out of. As I said, learning about smoke coming out of gold mines, and that could signal mining activity and price of activity. Believe it or not, but it's true with the power of with with the power of satellite. And don't ask me about the stuff about crypto. There's a lot of stuff that's questionable on crypto that would kind of blow your mind on what they do to measure price direction on Bitcoin and the amount of impact it has. Yeah, it surprised you. That's all I could say. Anybody else got questions or comments? I appreciate you folks being out there. Just give me a yes if you've been here since 7 p.m. I'm just curious who's the hardcore people. Please don't go. I'm having fun. I'll be back. I'll be doing this consistently, Mwezi. I'll be doing this consistently. I get what you mean. I'm not going anywhere. I just got to find the right schedule and the right day. I'll be doing at least on my YouTube channel under the post a survey what people want, what day, what time. So by all means, participate in that. That's how I figure out the time for my weekly webinars I used to do a number of years ago. Get some rest. We appreciate you, Brian. Thank you, thank you, thank you for watching. As I said, yeah, what I'm going to do, as I said, I'm part of a YouTube boot camp. And they say consistency, and that consistency is based upon a predictable time for people to come in, like yourself, Mwezi, or whoever else, and just join in. And that's what I do, and that's how I grow on YouTube. I get tons of people saying, "Ah, you put out all this gold nugget content, but you're not growing." Well, I'm doing it all wrong, according to YouTube. So got to follow what they suggest, obviously. Anybody else? I'm not going anywhere. If I said this is my last stream, it's my last stream. But This is the actual first real stream of this format that people like. So I'm by all means all for it. Uh, Anybody else comments or questions? Just over 3 hours. I don't mind doing it. Um, but I want to get back to the coding so I can show you what I want to show on a video. I think this will be one of the biggest ones. Uh, if not, oh, I appreciate the hearts. 3 a.m. in UK. Wow. I won't sleep until you stop. Wow. That's hardcore, dude. I appreciate that. Let me ask you, do you have a job to go to tomorrow? Money maker. Are you actually an institutional level, like London, UK stuff, banking or hedge fund related money maker? Because I would say you're a make market maker. Sounds like the way off tomorrow. Oh, you're off. Okay, cool. Maybe I should do it earlier. That's the hard part is if I'm in, well, I'm New York time, but being able to make it convenient for people in Asia, Europe, uh, that are either working, sleeping, it's hard to do. Some people say, well, I'll do it twice a day. It's like, no, man, it's I like doing it, but I like I said, I want to get coding sometimes to generate stuff to show you in videos. Anybody questions or comments? I appreciate if you're staying up all night on my account, man. I appreciate it. Wow, it's really powerful stuff to know this. Anybody? Thanks for the likes as well. Hopefully somebody will watch this. No? I guess we're done. Am I allowed to go? Yes. Oh, okay. Thank you, Project. I know you've been on this price since a long time. People seem to like this format, which is really good. Okay, I'm gonna give it a wrap because my brain's telling me to do it. But thank you very much for making this really exciting. If you missed the portion, YouTube will have this available probably in the next hour or so as it renders. So definitely that. If you're not on my email list, get on that with the quantlabsnet.com. Get a free little book as well. And yeah, I'm gonna start doing something here on YouTube, but I appreciate all this. Alrighty, thanks for watching and have yourselves a good day, good night, wherever you are. Thank you, Ingrid, and hopefully we'll get everything else sorted out. What you need, just email me or whatnot, and we'll do what you need to get done, to get your stuff done. Alrighty, thank you, thank you. Have a good rest. I'll be resting, coding away till 3 in the morning, probably, like Moneymaker. All right, see you guys later. Have a good day. Bye.